got our Sunday stream with all three of the remainder of the finals matches. I'm Slimsh. I'm joined with
Whole bunch of people today.
Brasky.
Yep, we got Brasky. I think Mark Shire's going to be on a little bit later.
Yeah, Mark Shire's here. He's going to fill in for the other two matches. So for starters, we have Yellow Dart versus Surlos. They're all ready to go.
Yep, they are. I'm going to give them the go-ahead, and we will get started with the final week of THL.
Yeah, Yellow Dart's apparently a player at DreamHack, so HSA really, they found a pretty good sub for the last week, from the sounds of things.
Yeah, not too shabby. What seed is this?
I believe it's the 3 seed? Yeah, 3 seed.
That's not a bad 3 seed.
Currently, the scores are tied 6-6, so everything's going to get decided here tonight. Yellow Dart had Druid, it was banned. Mage, Paladin, Warrior is what Yellow Dart's left with. Surlos had Mage, Paladin, Shaman, Warrior. The Paladin got banned by Yellow Dart.
Yeah.
So
let's see.
Both have Mage and Warrior. They differ where Surlos has Shaman, Yellow Dart has Paladin. So
we're just waiting on a screenshot right now to come through on one end, and then we'll get kind of ready to go.
Oh, okay. So they kind of know their bans, just not.
Yeah, they've confirmed who's banning what, but I think they're still waiting on one screenshot to come through for all that.
Screenshots are definitely important. So if I'm looking at Surlos, and Surlos is banning Yellow Dart's Druid, I'm guessing that Surlos didn't want to play against Jade Druid.
Yeah, that's my guess. That's my guess. He's bringing a control-heavy lineup that he does not want to mess with right now.
Yeah, so there's really no telling when it comes to the Shaman. Token Shaman's supposed to be pretty good against Jade Druid, so I would imagine it's could be a slower Shaman. Might have more healing packed into it against things like Mage, maybe even Spirit Echo.
Agreed.
That's usually how that ends up going. Yeah, Shaman's it's a pretty good flexible class. Not many people brought it for this last week. But...
Which is surprising to me. I mean, even from watching DreamHack and other competitive things, I mean, really it seems like Shaman is the class that it can compete against anything. It has a chance against aggressive decks. It can outvalue control decks in the right circumstances. It just is one of those decks that I'm surprised I didn't see a lot of it in this final week.
Yeah, I would think so too. At least more than 3. Although, in the match between Blue Sombrero and Eric Oki, Eric respected the Shaman enough to ban it.
Yeah.
So.
And how about 2 priests? 2 priests from Dirty Mike and the boys.
Oh, I love Priest. I think Priest is pretty good in THL.
Which class of priest would you bring? Would you bring the Silence? Would you bring the Miracle? Would you bring Control?
Well, Silence is kind of just good in general against any Druid, although I guess at the time there wasn't this big Druid, but I don't know if people are bringing that to THL. So Silence Priest can be kind of good across the board against Druid, and if you tech it right, it can also be relevant against Mage. Either the Burn variant or Secret variant, I would probably say, if you just find some room for Priest of the Feast. So that's generally what I would look to do with Priest in THL.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, it's not the craziest thing in the world, but it's just in terms of raw percentages, I think it's a solid choice. And you're pretty much pigeonholed into banning Paladin mostly.
For sure. I think, in your opinion, there's always kind of the one deck that is not great for laddering, but is always a great choice for something like competitive play or tournament play or something like that. The Control Paladin gets brought up a lot with that. It's not the best to ladder with, but it's always just super flexible in a tournament sense. What are decks that kind of fit that kind of tone for you? Stuff that you wouldn't bring on the competitive, like just laddering up, but if you were going to a tournament somewhere, you would definitely bring that deck.
In some scenarios, a Paladin like N'Zoth Paladin can shine way more in a tournament format than on ladder. On ladder, you try to go with some more conservative type of control paladin, but in tournament format, you can get really crazy.
That's true. I've been seeing that coming from more the kind of European style. I've been seeing a lot of the Hearthstone Global games, a lot of the paladins that the people have been bringing up is kind of these insanely greedy N'Zoth control paladins, ones that just kind of either they just know that they aren't going to run into something that's going to steamroll them, so they just go for complete value. And while the games end up being 20, 25 minutes long, they aren't like your standard like old school control warrior games that are just snooze fest. There's a lot of kind of ins and outs, a lot of tactics between those things.
Yeah, and yeah, those slower shaman archetypes we talked about too. I don't know if there's anything crazy that comes out of warrior here.
No, I don't, it's probably going to be pirate or quest.
Yeah, pirate's good if you suspect secret mage for whatever reason. I think that's one of its harder matchups, although secret mage has changed a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll find out kind of soon what they're playing, because Surlos has let me know that they are ready to roll.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so Surlos has Shaman, Yelder has the Paladin, which differentiates things here. I don't know if that really swings it one way or the other more. It depends on what
Garrosh versus
type of
Jaina.
Paladin, maybe. I mean, control, the more clears the better against Shaman.
Yeah, for sure.
A more mid-rangey one would be better against Warrior, but you also want to be packing as much as it looks like they're in. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it looks like very tempo start for the mage there, and then Warrior has the fiery wind axe, so he holds the fiery wind axe.
Yeah, so Yellow's starting out with mage, and yeah, Sorcerer's Apprentice. This makes me think it's more of the secret.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree on that end.
Yeah, and Surlos has Warrior. I'm gonna spectate him. Oh, yep, that's a secret. Those don't just go in any deck.
But well, if the secret deck is what he's looking for, Yellow's got a great start. If you start off with double Mana Worm into Sorcerer's Apprentice or into whatever you want, really.
Yeah, might as well start out with double Mana Worm, even if there is a War Axe. Well, they'll have to be clearing both of these. First mate's a little late, but maybe next turn. After the axe gets finished up. Oh, okay, it's one of the Arcane Giant type variants.
Which is a good variant. I mean, it kind of... Normally these decks you just want to tempo, just run as fast as you can. This gives you the flexibility to kind of hold back a little bit, kind of flood the board, just kind of save a big heavy hitter for the end if you want to, or just kind of throw it out. Sometimes in cases you can throw it out as early in a perfect situation as turn 5 or 6, and it's just like a Bittertide Hydra in that way.
Huh. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, killing the Mana Worm, 2/2 patches, killing the Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's smart.
I'm always that person that never remembers, either if Patches doesn't come out on turn 1, then I don't think he's coming out.
Yeah. yeah, it's weird like that. Alright, so Mirror Entity is a play, but Arcane Intellect, if you can end up finding a way to cheat the secret out, or maybe find Frostbolt.
Yeah, you're probably looking for...
Well, Yeldar, seems like they want to test their luck with Mirror Entity.
Yeah, you're probably looking for gas at this point, especially... See, the problem with Mirror Entity here is that, you haven't seen anyone throw any weapons out, so if he does get a N'Zoth first mate here, maybe he's going to get the first mate.
Yeah, I mean, there was no first mate in the early turns, so maybe it's pretty reasonable to expect that a low-cost drop wasn't going to get played, but... Yeah, it gets played around, and it's pretty rough. Fireland's Portal is many turns away, and the Arcane looks kind of awkward.
And there's not many ways for a secret mage to really come back this early. I mean, a lot of them will run the Flame Strike on 7 or even a Blizzard on 6, but...
Yeah, it's a... Oh, Ice Barrier. Interesting. That's definitely a tech card as far as secrets go. This is a slower secret mage by a few. a few measures. Yeah, just about the only way to really swing back at this point would be something off Primordial Glyph.
Now, this is kind of a short thing, but do you run a minion into this 1/1 to double up the damage on your frothing, or do you just hit it with your weapon?
What now?
Probably just your weapon, because to get 2 damage on your frothing would mean missing 2 damage. I'm guessing if the first mate were to attack, or the deckhand. So yeah, probably that. I don't even know if how much does Surlos want to extend here.
I don't think there's much need to extend too much. I mean, it's fine to throw out the deckhand if you want to, but it's also good to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Because if he holds on to it, I mean, in hand, what does he have? He's got the Fiery War Axe for 3, Heroic Strike for 7. You save that, that's 9 total right there.
Yeah. With Spellbreaker too, in case something were to get frozen. And yeah, with 5 mana, Frothing's not really going anywhere too easily. If it were to be a secret mage, just knowing that it's secret mage, really, the options are limited here.
Yeah, and even on turn 5, there's not that much he can do. He's got no... I mean, he can freeze out one thing, and then maybe put up... I mean, he can put up Ice Barrier, and then maybe freeze the Frothing, hope to get something better.
And then maybe hope to find a Primordial Glyph or something to freeze the board some more, and or maybe find Blizzard. It's... Yeah, to dig a way out of this one, you gotta kind of get creative in thinking...
And there's Leroy.
What might be able to happen. So... yeah, in the event that there was no Ice Barrier, Leroy would be lethal.
Yeah.
There's no harm in attacking with one of your minions first, just to see. Because you'd always be attacking last with the weapon if you were worried about Ice Block.
I guess you'd probably want to attack with one of the smaller minions first, just in case for some reason it's vaporized, but no caring from Surlos. He's just gonna throw the big guy into it.
Yeah, I guess the 3/2 would have been best, because if it was Mirror Entity, you could put the 2/2 into the Leroy.
Yeah.
Or no, you'd just kill them.
Yeah. So here's 5 damage coming in right here. Here comes the Wind Axe. Do you go for Heroic Strike here on top of it, or just kind of sit back on it? He's gonna go for it.
Oh yeah, the Heroic Strike and re-equipping the weapon too.
Puts him at 8 health.
Yeah, 8 health.
Which means Blizzard's not going to help him because the
Leroy
Leroy finish is
weapon
there.
will. Yeah, it could bluff an Ice Block, but what's it really
Oh, he's got not much going for him.
worth at this point? If there was one more mana, you could conceivably put yourself in a way that you'd survive. You could take out the Captain and Frothing, but
What to do?
just not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is what the Pirate Warrior does against secret mages generally. Surprisingly, even ones that start out with double Mana Worm.
Yeah. Which, if Yellow Dart brought this type of mage, do you think then in that sense he probably brought Token Druid, or do you think he brought the Jade Druid?
I'm not sure, but it's banned, so
Yep.
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know. Well, there's game 1. Surlos takes the victory over Yellow Dart.
Yep, so Surlos goes up 1 with the Warrior, has Shaman and Mage left, knows that it's Secret Mage, so that's really helpful, because sometimes you wouldn't be able to tell, if they're playing the same cards as Burn Mage does on turns 1 and 2, and then turn 3 there's a secret. Well, you might just toss out something thinking that it's Ice Block or what have you. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, and you would think that I've seen a lot of, especially in tournament modes or in competitive modes, I've seen a lot of talk about Secret Mage, cutting one Mirror Entity and putting in one Ice Block, specifically for reasons like running into the super aggro matchup, something that just buys you an extra turn to find the board clears that you want, to find some other way to kind of keep you alive. Because that's the one thing about Secret Mage is such a tempo-heavy deck in a lot of ways that it still can get run by something that's even more aggressive.
Yeah, and sometimes Mirror is just not
versus Jaina.
that powerful of a card. It really depends on what you're hoping to be up against.
And here we go. We got the Shaman now going up, and Yellow Dart, it just says, you know what, just bring it again. Just pull the Mage back out. Let's just keep going.
Looks like Token Shaman.
It absolutely does, and not a bad start for a Token Shaman. You got your 1-drop. Do you keep both 1-drops here, or you just hold on to the Firefly, you think?
Oh, I think you keep both. The potential of the charging patches is too much.
Very true. Especially if you can, fish down and try to find, Flame Totem, something like that. And on the Mage side, you got the Arcanologist, which is great, and you have the Kirin Mage, which is fine if you have the secret to go with it, which he doesn't. And do you probably throw away the Fireball and hold on to it for later?
I think it got thrown away. Makes sense. If you could ever find a Mana Wyrmore Babbling Book, be a good time. Yeah, Surlos should definitely ditch that eye. It keeps Devolve. That's interesting. Yeah, this is looking really good. And wow, a secret played on turn 3 with Kirin Mage. That's a turn 4.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Crystal Runner.
Mm-hmm.
Unless better options show up, which is kind of hard to think about. Yeah, normally you'd coin that one out if you had Flame Tongue, but...
Yeah. So, the Firefly start right there with plenty of options for the next spot. Arcanologist is going to bring out a secret,
An incredible discovery.
which makes his turn 3 even better.
Counterspell's kind of lackluster unless the coin gets used.
Yep.
Here. No. You'd probably still do it. Denying the coin can mean something.
It's true, but I think you much rather want to deny a Devolve, a Jade Lightning, really anything but the coin. All of the spells in Token Shaman are really important to the class and important to that deck. There's not a lot of just, I can throw something out there like a 1-mana secret in Paladin.
Yeah.
You really need it really needs all of its spells.
You counter an Evolve during a Doppelgangster turn, and that's just massive. I guess it's going to depend on how badly Yellow Dart wants to get that turn 4 Crystal Runner out.
Yeah, very true.
And just keep the ball rolling. Well, Surlos could coin out Stonehill Defender.
He could. There's a lot of stuff to look at what he wants to do here. Well, he coins out the Stonehill.
Decide what to... Maybe just something cheap would be good. Why not another Stonehill Defender? It's going to be pretty slow to get thing from below up without any Primal Fin Totem or... Oh, Ice Barrier. There you go.
Yeah. It's still going to be interesting.
No, well, the coin was used.
Yep. It's still going to be interesting to see how using that coin that early from Surlos is really going to impact this. If he throws out Counterspell here, it's like that coin is such a valuable asset, especially when you know that you're going up against Secret Mage.
Yeah, Surlos definitely could have just played the Flame Elemental and Bloodsail Corsair. I don't think Secret Mages run Volcanic Potions, so going wide like that probably was going to end up doing some good things.
Yeah, usually, when you're running that Secret Mage, you're not going to see any AoE until turn 6 if they run Blizzard or Meteor. It's not often that you'll see Volcanic Potion come from them. So now into turn 3, he has the option to throw the other Stonehill. He can just try to go wide and just totem and throw something else out there. If he doesn't think that there is, an AoE coming on turn 4, he can totem, throw out the Bloodsail Corsair, and all of a sudden have a bunch of minions on board, just trying to get something wide and sneak something out.
Yeah, Bloodsail Corsair would make some sense.
Yeah.
Patches would be nice to maybe... You could deal with either one of these minions there, and putting out something weak like that instead of the Stonehill Defender would play around Mirror-Nity.
So he goes
not Mirror-Nity.
with the Corsair. Now he's 4 wide. Let's see if he wants to just keep widening things out, try out some minions. He throws in... All right, he's going to just kind of start throwing stuff.
Tested for Ice Barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Which, saw the Ice Barrier the last game, so at this point, I think it's known that it's Counterspell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just known. Well, don't have to get Crystal Runner out right now.
No,
Sorcerer's Apprentice, Ice Barrier.
certainly decent enough.
Yeah. Gets her down to 2 mana.
You know, a lot of some high value stuff on Yellow Dart's side with the Firelands portal going. He's going to have a decent Cabal Crystal Runner if he wants it.
Could also just ping, just because if you do the Apprentice Ice Barrier, then Apprentice is dead.
Yeah, I mean, and board control is important when you're going up against a Token Shaman because you just never know. Once turn 5 hits, you never know when that Bloodlust is coming.
Yeah, it's also perfectly reasonable. Just get the Crystal Runner out there. You've got Counterspell up, so I mean she's safe. She's not
I'm late.
getting Jade Lightning or
Yeah,
anything.
and even then, I mean, it's decent enough 6 mana 5/5. I mean, you don't. It's not going to be that bad if it gets devolved.
Oh no,
You know.
no, not at all. Yeah, just...
Here comes Surlos. He's going to look for. Looks like he's going to dig for another taunt.
yeah.
He's got Rathion, Infested Tauren, Fen Creeper. He's got plenty. He's got plenty of things to do on 5. So it might just take the 6 and get some card draw.
Yeah, or just Infested Tauren to try and get something cheap.
Yeah, stickiness
Oh,
is
no.
important.
Yeah. Alright, just kill the Kyrian It's really not
Yeah, but here we are.
a
You
bad
know,
deal.
it's turn 4, going into turn 5, and the Token Shaman just does not have a big board up, and now we have double Sorcerer's Apprentices coming from Yellow Dart.
These 2 apprentices are awesome because if just one of them sticks for the next turn, that's
Yep.
that's a Firelands portal you can play.
That's a huge big, and that's a solid tempo turn from Yellow Dart right there, going into turn
Yep.
5. There's the evolve, so his turn 6 is ready to go for Surlos.
Yep.
This,
Have to burn Devolve now. Surlos knows it's counterspell by this
Yeah.
point.
he's got to.
The only unfortunate thing is you're not going to do anything in the meantime, but well, that's probably the strongest thing you could do. Just
Yeah.
playing Thing from Below is really
You know, the only thing that kind of, I mean, is there any other play? Thing from Below doesn't really work that way. There's probably no reason to just totem and throw Primal Fin. It's just, you might as well devolve, counterspell the devolve now, so you go get the evolve on turn 6.
What to do?
You could also play a Doppelgangster.
He could.
It's
He could also pass. He could just pass the whole turn.
they could help you take out some of this.
There is little time.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty rough. The Evolve's going to have to be very good to.
Yeah, going down to the wire for
Justify
Surlos.
original.
He is, looks like he is
Yeah,
going to go
just-
wide.
Yeah, just gonna toss out a Doppelgangster. Finds out it's the Ice Barrier. That's good news. Oh no.
What does he do here? No, he throws out the Thing from Below. Okay.
Okay, well tested for the Ice Barrier, so that's good. If it were Mirror Entity, I would guess the
Yeah.
Doppelgangster.
But now, Yellow Dart just keeps developing and gets a taunt minion on top of it. So now not only is his devolve useless anyway, but he doesn't have that big turn that he wants anyway. Do you consider just throwing out the Rathion just for another taunt? But even then, it's going to die very quick.
Well, no, it's Counterspell, so
I don't know if he knows it's Counterspell. He was touching on that Doppelgangster, and Lord knows when you're touching on that Doppelgangster, bad things happen.
yeah, Rathion. At best, it'll just kill the Crystal Runner, and then you'll
Yeah.
be left to deal with everything else that's been here.
Yeah, there's just not a lot for him to do here. He might, if he tries the devolve, then he's got 4 mana to deal with. And he's going to take a lot of damage that way. Man, that's a tough spot.
Yeah.
Because even though it's a 2-mana devolve,
Little time.
it's still there's some heavy stuff on Surlos' side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Comes
think
that
there's
up.
too good of an answer. Just gonna be this, and yeah, just throwing out the devolve.
No, he throws the evolve and gets it countered,
Oh, evolve and then.
and then devolve.
Okay.
Not bad. And check me if I'm wrong, Slimsh, but I don't think Secret Mage runs any extra Murlocs.
No Murlocs, no beasts before when the Tundra Rhino was there. Okay, so goes for an evolve, and yeah, all things considered, it turned out
I'll think
pretty
that
well.
very smart playing by Surlos right there. Really kind of, I mean, I think that set him up in the best way that he could. Look, you know, he was basically staring down the barrel of a shotgun and just decided to try a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's a decision that you really can't make lightly, because you got both your doppelgangsters in your hand, and Surlos made the decision that it was more important to devolve the mage's board than to hope for any evolved shenanigans.
And even then, you know,
Murlocs.
and now he's coming into a spot where Yellow Dart, while he's got cards in hand, they're all kind of dependent on other cards. I mean, he can play out the Kirin Tor Mage for a 4-3 just for tempo, or he can play out a 2-3 if he just feels like it, but there's not a lot of reason to play these cards. You want to hold on to these cards for when you have a secret up.
I think, yeah, the Kirin Tor should definitely get played.
Yeah.
Medivh's Valet can get held.
We have many.
So he throws it right in the middle.
Could even play the Medivh. I mean, Devolve just got played. So
Yeah, he goes full wide. And, you know, the way the game's been going,
probably setting up lethal.
yeah, you probably don't even think that your opponent has... Your opponent, you know, he probably thinks that Surlos has a heavy hand. He doesn't think that he has something like a Maelstrom Portal or something like that.
Yeah, probably not. Otherwise, yeah, the last turn probably would have been different.
Yeah, so, I mean, well, he's got a couple options here. He can Jade Lightning down the 4-4. He can throw up a taunt if he feels that that's great, but he's going to run into a fireball.
Yeah, Jade Lightning seems pretty tempting.
No, here comes. He's going to drop the Rathian.
So we know there's no dragons.
Mhm. If he drops the Rathian, that will be lethal
Is
on
that
Yellow
game?
Dart's side. That is game. He's got 14 on board plus a ping.
14 on board.
There is
Yeah.
little time.
Yeah, I don't know, big decision. The
Yeah.
Jade Lightning seems like a pretty safe one.
Yeah, it's proactive. It removes 4 damage on the board on top of doing 4 damage. He's going to go with the Rathian, though, and that will call it.
No dragon.
So Yellow Dart is going to take down game number 2 and make it 1-1 if he sees it.
Yep. So with the board and the fireball, exact lethal, 1 over if decide to do perfect math to get through the taunt.
Yellow Dart taking his time.
So yeah, the 4, 10.
He might be life coaching this a little bit. He wants to touch everything. He's counting 4. Oh no!
Yeah, always good to.
Well, it's still
I mean,
still lethal anyway.
This will be lethal. It's
Yeah.
just not exact.
Why don't you do it our way, Yellow? Jeez. There it is.
Yeah. Probably knew something was up when the 4-4 traded in instead of the 4-3.
Yep.
Alright, so 1-1. Mage is down for Yellow Dart, going up against Token Shaman, which is definitely the preferred shaman.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Be going up
Mage
against.
out of the way for Yellow Dart. We know we have the Token Shaman for Surlos. If you're Surlos now, you've lost. You have your Mage and you have your Shaman. You're going up against a Paladin and a Warrior. Do you just keep going with Shaman just to see what your opponent's bringing? Because it has a good chance just about against anything.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable. At this point, I would suspect that Yellow Dart banned Paladin,
Mm-hmm.
probably bringing a more control-oriented warrior, which you would think would be Calm Warrior
Yeah.
against Shaman.
Well, let us
So
see.
you could keep jamming the Shaman.
That's a lot of Murlocs for a control Paladin.
Yeah, keep jamming the Shaman to try and find the. Oh yeah, it's mid-range.
Mm-hmm. Or it could just be straight up aggro.
Well,
he's
with
got
both-
Consecrate, yeah.
yeah, Stonehill, Cold Light, and Consecration, that definitely can't be aggro.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll pick one of those 3, but never all of them. I
Never
think.
all 3. So it's more of a mid-range Murloc going up against Token. So in this sense, I mean, board control is the name of the game.
Yeah, I think you keep this Consecration. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a smart
definitely
move. And
hold on to the
Rock
Consecrate.
Pool.
That's a heavy hand for Yellow Dart, though. He's got a 2-drop, but he doesn't really have...
Yeah.
You want that early 1-drop.
Well, good news is that life just got sadder for Surlos, but we'll see.
We
Devolve,
prefer to THL when both players' lives are just sad.
Devolve's a really good card against Murloc Paladins. They can get all their little buffs, and you just ruin their day if you get Maelstrom Port.
Yeah, it's an outstanding card against either aggro or mid-range Paladin. Even it's even better if they develop a board of tokens and drop Sunkeeper.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
starting things off. Surlos is just going to start building up some tokens, and Yellow
just
Dart
get the
drops.
rock pool out there.
Yep, get the 2/3 out. It doesn't immediately die to anything on board.
Yeah, sets up for the consecration.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt
More-
that's worth.
More tokens. More tokens for Surlos. He can go Firefly Totem and end up being 5-6 wide by the
and
end of turn
that'll
3.
That'll go right into the coin consecration, but that has to happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a singular devolve really doesn't seem like the way to go, but you sure would be protecting your Primal Fin Totem, which
For sure.
could end up paying off in the long run.
Yeah. And, in this situation, you probably just end up going wide. You don't want to trade. You want to be the aggressor early in this, since you consider both of these decks to be sort of mid-rangey. You kind of want to dictate how the game is going to go. And then, if your opponent throws, the big thing is you don't want to overextend. Because that consecration is coming. Can you rebuild after the consecration?
Yeah, trading just has no benefit here. Yeah, and hero power, that's not too much of an overextension.
No, not at all. I mean, as
I
long
think you
it's
save
just
both.
bodies up there. That's all you need.
Yeah, trading didn't make any sense, because if there is a consecration, then, well, you could just kill this with Jade Lightning.
And even on turn 3, I mean, it's that having that Wrath of Air totem sits there, it still kind of acts as a taunt, because you know that there's going to be a couple of... If the spells in Shaman get just a little bit of spell damage, they can become devastating as opposed to annoying.
Yeah.
He's going to
Alright,
he's
one
going to clear it
consecration
now.
down. Oh, yeah.
There it
This
is.
is so good.
Great value there. Complete board
Wow.
swing orders. There's board
Okay.
swing number 1.
Well, with 2 Doppelgangsters and no Evolve in sight yet, you might just throw one of those out knowing that there was a consecration. It'll depend on what else gets picked up, but
Yep.
I think that's a reasonable Jade Lightning. You don't want it to adapt with a Megasaur if you can avoid that.
Yeah. Would you have any thought of saving a Jade Lightning, thinking that maybe, the War Leader's coming later, or do you just know that you're going to deal with the War Leader with a Devolve when it comes out?
Yeah. Ooh. Alright, those are nice and cheap.
Yep, there's the tiny Murlocs.
That, and maybe even just get War Leader out there, and then next turn you could Tidecaller and True Silver if there's something worth smacking. You could try to protect War Leader too. If there was a Flame Tongue, that would suck for it to die.
Yeah, for sure. So now Yellow Dart is kind of doing his best impression of a token shaman. He just wants to get a bunch of tiny stuff
Oh yeah.
out there. That's a pretty decent drop. I mean, you can go Doppelgangster, just whip
like
it out
that.
and see whose board is wider. Just kind of see what that is.
Yeah, whip it out. Why not?
Just whip it. Whip it, sir.
Jade Claws, Hero Power, Flame Elemental.
You still go wide. You can take out, a Murloc Tidecaller in that same amount of time. You can trade one in here, trade one in there, leave your opponent with just one token on board, and have, looks like 1, 2, 3 tokens on your side.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably depends. I know apparently some Evolve Shamans, at least some time ago, they were only playing one Evolve.
Yeah.
They play 2 now, mainly.
Yeah, most decks I've seen run double evolve, double devolve. There it is. He's gonna go. So Surlos goes 3 wide on Yellow Dart.
Yeah. I think the fact that the Jade's a 2/2 off this weapon makes a big deal. And yeah, you can Doppelgangster the next turn if you want to.
Yeah. And it's actually better you didn't Doppelgangster there, because, I mean, you Doppelgangster, you have a bunch of 2/2s, but they all basically die, especially if there's any other Murloc that comes out.
Basically. Yeah. So, War Leader, you can take out the 2/2 and have 1 health left behind. Your board will be clear from that, and you'll just have a token left.
Yep.
Blessing of Kings is
A lot of heavy stuff for Yellow
extremely
Dart.
suspect.
Yeah, it's a lot of heavy stuff. Yellow Dart really wanted to find these 1-drops on turn 1. Because that's the thing. Mid-range Paladin is great if it gets going. If it can get going on turn 1, turn 2, or turn 3 in some cases, but it needs to get going early just so it can dictate how the game is going to go. Where mid-range Paladin loses is when it loses the board early, or if it overextends.
Yeah. Alright, going with the Kings. This will be a very sad devolving time.
Yeah. But
that's also not necessarily going to be the case. He could just kill it outright.
Yeah, it's not a great devolve. If you can kill it with what you have, you probably want to keep your devolve for more value.
Yeah, and just hero power thing from below.
Yeah, or even then, I mean, if you kill off this and then drop 1 Doppelgangster, you've seen 1 Consecration, and now there's nothing readily on board to compete with those 2/2s.
Yeah, and Primordial Drake is quite a ways away, so yeah.
And
no matter what, definitely want to kill this thing because, well, it'd be kind of hilarious if there was a Spike Ridge Steep, because that would just be the best evolve ever.
Yes, it would. But you kill this guy off, you develop a Doppelgangster. The Doppelgangster kind of counters the Sunkeeper Tarim.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just go with the Doppelgangster. See what's up. You've got 2. If you draw and evolve, that's just insane. Crazed Alchemist.
Yeah, that's an interesting tech card in there as well.
Oh, that's a nice tech card against Shaman. It's too bad it couldn't show up earlier when that Primal Fin Totem was out there. That would have been great.
Very true.
That would have been awesome.
Looks like True Silver drop a guy down.
Huh, Crazed Alchemist. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's against Taunt Warrior, all the taunts have high health, low attack for the most part. In the case of some sort of mage with Doomsayer, huh.
And all of a sudden, I mean, these are 2 mid-range decks,
play it.
but this has all the makings of who can get the most value right now.
Yeah,
It's
gonna be pretty grindy.
Absolutely.
I think this Crazed Alchemist should definitely be saved for a pinch Flame Tongue Totem killer. Or Mana Tide.
Yep. Yellow Dart he's gonna do Crazed Alchemist here. He wants to
apparently
go.
it's desperate enough to get the tempo.
Yeah, he just wants that 2/2 out of there instead of a 1/1. There's the second devolve there. But the thing is, like, he's got ways to deal with boards. He doesn't have a lot of ways to develop. He really wants to see an evolve right now for Surlos.
Yes. Evolve. Yeah, it clears it out of fear of Spike Ridge Steed, and also just to keep this thing from below. Yeah, a Mana Tide Totem would be great. Yeah, that Doppelganger number 2 should not get played.
No, you always hold on to that one.
The Sunkeeper's very awkward. But
it's a great band name, the Awkward Sunkeeper.
I'd almost. Would you consider it?
I would, because at the very least, if you drop that down and take out the thing from below as a 3/3, they can't readily deal with.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and because you know what your turn 8 is.
Yeah.
Ungoro belongs to the Titan.
Yeah, and the war leader Cold Lightseer was just not going to be great.
Yeah.
Against the things below.
Especially when you've watched your opponent. If you watch your opponent, the first 2 cards in Surlos' deck have been sitting there for a long, long time. So you've got to think that one's devolve and the other has got to be something like an evolve, a Doppelgangster. There's not a lot of early game stuff that's going to be sitting right there.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Maelstrom
So
Portal.
as far as killing this,
Drop.
Evolving probably doesn't make the situation that much better.
Yeah, but if you throw a Maelstrom, well, there's the devolve. 1 makes up an Usher
well,
of
it
Souls.
Lost taunt, but it's
Now it's a little better.
just about as healthy.
At the
as
very
it
least,
was.
you can kill it off, though.
Kill it off without even using Maelstrom.
Yeah, well, he gets the taunt totem, though.
Okay. so
Decent enough.
Choose to ignore it then in that case.
So if you know your
Yeah,
opponent...
second devolve will come in handy for Tyrion.
Yeah, now you know that you think that you have your... If your opponent has that second devolve, are you going to develop the Murlocs this next round, or are you going to drop the Tyrion?
Oh, that's a good question.
You know? Oh, that's not bad. A Curator. That's going to draw you some fun things.
Yeah, should definitely play the Curator to get the Primordial. And yeah, it's just a taunt too.
Great top deck.
Tyrion is too.
And here comes the Menagerie.
Megasaur's pretty good.
Man.
Wait. Oh, this deck is not even playing Primordial.
Yeah,
Drake.
probably not. It probably... The deepest it goes is probably that Tyrion.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Well, if there, it's still a half decent play. Now there's some good Megasaur.
yeah. You know, you
that
have
could
this...
happen.
You have the spell damage totem up. You know, it's probably the most value you're going to get out of Maelstrom Portal, unless you think your opponent's going to go wide next turn.
Yeah, it could also.
It's an it's an
these
awkward
devolves are so weird.
yeah, it's an awkward devolve because you really want to save devolve for Murlocs. That's the reason why you have devolve in the deck, is to go up against Murlocs when you're playing Paladin.
Now the funny thing is that even though Yellow Dart drew 2 cards in Surlos's mind. There's no way they've gotten through that many Murlocs.
Yeah.
There's no way they have that many beasts.
Yeah,
Well,
and
they could have that many beasts.
yeah, he could have beasts, but also it's like you saw 2, you didn't see 3, so you're trying to wonder what those are. And here he is. He's gonna put on the pressure,
Yeah.
and he throws the Maelstrom,
Yeah, just to get a whatever.
and
Oh, hey, that's
a stealth
actually
minion will do the trick.
really good with Bloodlust.
Yeah, that's amazing with Bloodlust.
Okay, both devolves down. Spike Ridge Steed shows up. There you go.
Now you got 9 mana on Yellow Dart's side. He's got Murlocs to play with. He's got Gentle Megasaur in hand. He finally drew a Spike Ridge Steed after you've seen both devolves, so you know this Spike Ridge Steed is going to stick.
Yep, and you can even throw out Hydrologist for a little extra protection. Maybe find a Noble Sacrifice or something. Just be as defensive as possible.
Yep, absolutely. Getaway Kodo, Eye for an Eye, Repentance.
Well,
That's tough. I mean, maybe Getaway or an Eye for an Eye if you really think that you can tie.
I actually think it's Eye for an Eye.
Yeah, he goes with the Getaway.
Like, the hand really does not need You got Tyrion that you're struggling to find time to play. You really don't need
But this is super smart to put a taunt on a water elemental, so anyone that touches it gets frozen.
Yeah.
And a Getaway Kodo, so you'll bring it
Yeah,
back.
it kills the Doppelgangster to play around Evolve.
There's a Maelstrom, which is still going to get some spell damage out of it.
Okay, that'll trigger the Getaway Kodo right off the bat.
Yeah, that's a great way to avoid having to go up against that again.
The chat's hilarious right now. They're all spamming Surlos, don't draw Evolve, and if only they know what happens 10 minutes down the road.
Right?
Well, yeah, Maelstrom Portal will be something. Yeah, you can get through the Water Elemental. I don't know how great
And
of a
look,
story that
Light
is.
Warden. Oh, it's so unfortunate.
No
He's
healing
got the 3 totems that he doesn't want. Light Warden, God, oh, that would have been fantastic. But now you don't
Well,
want to throw anything in here, do you? You try to want to stay as wide as possible in case you top deck Bloodlust, correct?
Well, you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
You can trade 2 into the Water Elemental and then play the Doppelgangster and then say, "Yep, Bloodlust is the way I win. That's the only way I win." It's gotten really desperate for Surlos.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, do you think he runs Mana Tide in this deck? Because we've seen it twice and no
yeah,
Mana
we
Tide
saw
yet.
it before.
Oh, we did.
Saw one at least. Okay, decides to hold here. Probably not dying that soon. So
Yeah, not dying is a
another
good
one.
decision. And there's another Spike Ridge steed. Here comes the hydrologist. He's going to find something different. Almost the exact same, minus the getaway.
Get that eye for an eye.
Yep.
Ah.
I mean, you know, Redemption is fine because it just leaves something up there.
Redemption's actually very cool because, yeah, both Maelstroms got used. If
Yeah.
Laramontel dies, then it'll come back and it'll be hiding behind taunts. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Do you spread out the taunts amongst one thing, or do you just make this the most ridiculous water elemental ever known to man?
Probably spread them out. You never know if there's hex.
That's true.
Lists really don't run it, but you never know.
In THL, you never know what people are going to run. For all we know, like the top deck of Surlos is just going to be that Murloc Legendary.
It'd be a good tech decision.
It would be. I hear
Knowing that there's Warrior and...
Man, bad feeling for Surlos. You have your opponent at 7 health, and you just can't bust through this wall.
Yep. Oh, poor Light Warden.
Poor Light Warden.
So, yeah. You'd have to suicide something here for the Doppelgangster, and Doppelgangster just gets cleaned up too easily at that point. Well, Flame Tongue, you can clear some things.
Yeah.
Basically just Archmage.
Yeah. If Surlos is a panda, he is a very sad panda.
Hockey
Look at
voice. What's your audiobook of choice going to be?
Oh, my audiobook of choice. Let's see. It'll probably be something like really boring. Just being like, here's the user's manual for your new KitchenAid stand mixer.
That's pretty great. Alright. Further cement this taunt wall with Tyrion. Or also, yeah, Gentle Megasaur too.
Yep, I think you're going to get
with taunt.
your opponent's got one card. You can probably guarantee it's Doppelgangster at this point. Just go wide and get all the value you can.
Yeah, either that or Bloodlust. I don't know if there was a good turn for Bloodlust.
Yeah, there really wasn't.
Probably would have gotten thrown out at some point.
Yeah.
Gentle Megasaur, if there's
Wind Fury,
7.
Divine Shield, probably. Poisonous.
Wind Fury won't do it.
+1/+1 seems decent.
Yeah. Death Rattle's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, there's no reason for that. I mean, and you've already used your Sunkeeper.
Things are sticky enough.
And Slimsh loves things sticky.
Yes. I really like the Death Rattle option with the more aggressive Paladin, but that's not the...
Absolutely.
That's not this. Because of Steward. Yeah, just go face with these.
Yep. I mean, you've swung the board. You're the beatdown right now. There's no reason to do it, but you know the Mana Tide, just too
A
late.
little too late. Be dead. Even with a taunt totem, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a heart wrenching one.
Yep. So
For Surlos tried to play as well to the outs as possible, but yeah, Yellow Dart just has to win with the Warrior.
That's a tough matchup. Here we are thinking that the Shaman is the one that's going to use the AoE most effectively, and the Paladin just end up, that Consecration on turn 3 was huge. It just kept having the board swings, and then kept goading out just enough value to dictate a devolve before using your Spike Ridge Steeds, which is what you want to do as a Paladin. You want to just put just enough value out there that your opponent has to remove the value or lessen the value in some way, and then you can drop a huge taunt and just close out the game.
Yeah, just got so clunky there.
Yeah. Clunky Shamans are not fun Shamans. So Yellow Dart's got that Warrior, and Surlos, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but maybe he throws the Mage. We'll see. Nope, he's just going to keep going with the Shaman.
Keep going with the Shaman into the Warrior. The Mage had to have been the better choice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not against Pirate Warrior. So
true, and that is not a bad opening hand against Pirate Warrior. Probably toss the Doppel.
So yeah, you keep these. I don't know if it's worth thinking that it'd be the worst case if it was taunt. I don't know. Surlos queued the Shaman up, so keeping one Maelstrom, okay, keeps both. That's very, very, very good.
Absolutely.
He's gonna have one. If it's anything with one attack, it'll be very useful with Flame Tongue. So he was hoping for no shield bearer, I guess.
He's gonna coin out the Maelstrom.
Job's done.
Yeah. This is really, really, really strong.
Oh, he gets a 0-1.
Oh no.
And he can't even trade the Flame Tongue into it. That's just not...
Could just play the Flame
true.
Tongue, have it be big, and have the
True, I mean,
ability to do the Blood Sail.
I mean, the
next
Flame Tongue most likely is not going to die next turn unless you think your opponent has the War Axe, but he probably would have played the War Axe on turn 2.
turn. Yeah. Decided to just go with this. Has Maelstrom to follow up.
Yeah.
Which,
And
yeah,
like, yeah,
between that and the weapon.
it makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah. It-
really awkward for Yellow Dart with that weapon.
Super. And now, man, there's another nice value Maelstrom portal is going to come out here, most likely. I mean, there's a chance that you drop the Flame Tongue and trade in, but if you have the chance to clear a Pirate Warrior's board and have 3 tokens against it.
Yeah. Yeah, Flame Tongue's just gonna get better
Yep.
with all these minis who too and
Yeah.
got a way better one this
Flame
time
Tongue's going to
around.
have great trade-up values. It's going to be interesting to see what he does on turn 5 when the Bittertide Hydra comes out.
Yeah. So, is this Kor'kron Elite going to...
Trade? No?
Nah, no trade.
No, me smash, me go face.
Yeah.
So,
Flame Tongue will happen regardless. And,
Yep.
oh yeah, between the Flame Tongue and that thing for blow is going to start to get cheaper, which will be a huge deal.
very true. So the Flame
With the
Tongue
Bloodsail
trades that in.
Corsair, it's actually really good for Yellow Dart that the turn 5 is Bittertide and not Arcanite.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's see, this...
Man, no weapons for Yellow Dart, but he still has done plenty of damage early.
Oh, this Bittertide will actually be dead.
Yeah,
Thanks to Patches
yeah.
swinging down along the Flame Tongue.
Patches is going to do some work. He would, I mean, I'm sure he would have liked the Blood Sail to get more value, taking weapon value out, but...
Yeah.
In the-
If you can kill the Bittertide,
And do 9 damage to your opponent in the same time.
sure, why not? Because you're not even really at risk with the Mortal Strikes. So. And in the meantime, yeah, you can play more Totems.
Yep, he's got totems for days.
You can play, yeah, just your Hero Power and Primal Fin. That thing for blow's dirt cheap,
Yeah.
or it will be.
You
could also
might
just play
even
straight
consider
up,
just
though.
like dropping the Primal Fin, leaving the Bittertide alive for a little while, and just throwing as many tokens as you can at it. But it's still 8 damage. Surlos does not appreciate the 8 damage.
No. This is the worst way for a
Look
Bittertide
at
to
that.
die.
God. Stop. It's already dead. Just stop. Look at that. That's
Oh
a,
yeah, and keeps the Blood Imp alive too. Now
Yeah.
the Blood Imp's getting in there.
And now
Blood
you
Imp
tap.
doesn't say when it attacks.
You know, he taps that out. Drops a
Yeah.
Primal Fin totem.
I like this. Make thing from below cheap. In fact, next turn,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if there's enough board space, you could Hero Power, Mana Tide, and thing from below.
And a top deck Bloodlust just closes everything out.
Yeah.
Look at that. And this.
Alright,
and
what's the best strategy for Yellow Dart here?
Well, my assumption is you want a Heroic Strike and get rid of that Flame Tongue. Maybe
Probably. Yep, definitely.
maybe put out a taunt of your own, but he's going to go with the Frothing Berserker.
Yeah, probably. Naga would have been more, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Here we
it's-
go.
It's the same health. Maybe Naga was the better call, but
That's a big deal. Now you just have a bunch of zero attack minions.
yeah.
Probably
so,
go Mana Tide and keep you probably want to keep drawing into stuff you want, but there is some relevance of dropping Aya and just getting even wider on board.
I like a Mana Tide. Thing
You
for
would.
Below.
You would.
Thing for below just seems good.
Thumbs
Oh,
up.
you mean-
Thumbs
just
up
make
seems
it-
good.
Just make it needlessly cheap. That's what I like. Just make it cheap for no reason. Just feels good.
Nothing like a super value discount thing from below.
It doesn't matter
Yep.
because you can't Hero Power.
Now where do you place it? That's the big thing. He goes full left. I would have gone middle.
Flame Tongue. I think it's right.
Yeah.
Where it wound up. Wait, did that Blood Imp seriously buff the thing for a while?
Yes, it did. No, it did.
That's nice. If there was an Arcanite.
God.
Reaver. Yeah, so Dread Corsair and South Sea Captain.
Yeah, only makes sense, I think.
Alright, a Devolve and things change a lot.
Yeah,
No taunt.
Or
no
Bloodlust.
hitting.
Firefly. Man, we have seen 3 games of this token shaman. We have not seen Bloodlust come out once.
No, maybe only running one.
True.
Well, this is actually kind of awkward.
Yeah. He's got that Stonehill Defender, which is, I mean, taunts are never a bad thing to have against Pirate Warrior. But
Yeah.
no matter what he throws into this thing, he cannot kill that Frothing Berserker.
Yeah, you know, it's probably and the more you trade to clear room, the bigger the frothing gets. But if
Yeah.
you get 2 taunts between the Stonehill, and presumably you'll discover something that's 4 or cheaper.
Very true.
Yeah, it's no fear. No fear. Just hit into
Just
the
keep hitting. He's already below 12 anyway.
probably the frothing, since the captain's most likely hit
Yep.
everything. Yeah, and then get taunts.
Now he's got
This
he's
is
got time.
This is a brave play.
Oh, he's going to go with the
Aya.
Aya.
Okay, you got 3/3 at this point.
Yeah.
So, or no, sorry, that was a.
Heals it for 3, draws a card, heals some. What got healed? Okay,
Okay,
the
another
totem got a 3. So much after turn interaction going on the shaman.
Yeah.
Another Frothing comes out.
All right. So frothing gets up to 11, and you got smacked in the face.
Yeah.
You're in range for Mortal Strike, so yeah, there's some hope there.
Puts you at 11. You probably just go. You go face because your opponent's only got 7.
And is it? Should you armor up, or should you play the Naga? Armoring up gets you to 13. There's
Well, you're dead. Yeah.
7 looking at you at the moment, so you're dead to Jade Lightning and Flame Tongue Totem.
Yep.
1 Flame Tongue Totem got played. There's 2 Jade Lightnings, so maybe.
Yeah. And your opponent has gotten so much value out of this Mana Tide. He's drawn so much. Down
Yeah.
to 8. There's the devolve.
It probably wasn't worth armoring up, because you're in a really desperate spot
Yeah.
to close this game out.
Yeah, he's not going to devolve this. He knows he can kill off this 11 and kill off the 4.
Can kill off, actually. Oh yeah, well, if you could clear off 2 of these and just get Stonehill Defender up,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be fine. Just clear off Frothing, the 2 of them, because the second one's going to become bigger than the Naga.
Very true.
Oh, you got Thing from Below too, yeah. So
Yeah, he's got plenty of taunt.
Definitely fine. Just keep drawing with this Mana Tide. You'll find Bloodlust Image.
There goes that.
It exists.
There's a 3/3. He's going to throw the Stonehill.
Yep, and then
There, the Earth
Earth
Elemental.
Elemental.
Or
Yes,
even then,
lock
you can
that
get
down.
you get 2. Thing from below. So you can drop 2 taunts down from there. But probably just the
Oh.
value of 1 Earth Elemental is
You
great.
got 5 mana. Get that Earth Elemental down.
Look at
Yeah,
that
that's-
fat butt. That is a fat butt elemental.
Yeah, that's the way to go. And yeah, just 7 damage. This is well, an armor up won't make it lethal. Also, that trade. Okay. Yeah, still no Bloodlust, but another thing from below appears.
Taunts.
Or another doppelgangster, sorry.
You know, the only thing that would have saved Yellow Dart is, I guess, waiting out for double Mortal Strike. Instead of getting the South Sea Deckhand, is just top decking both Mortal Strikes all in the same.
Mm-hmm. Just play doppelgangster to assert dominance.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna make a big deal.
You really know you're the alpha when you drop a doppelgangster on a full board.
Actually, yeah, rolling the totem was the smart thing to do to try and get taunt. Okay, heroic strike. Yeah, we're
Nothing doing.
looks like we're going 5 games here. So it's gonna be Cerlos's undisclosed mage against the pirate warrior. Or yeah, it's a pirate warrior. That's a
There it
known
goes.
fact. So if it's Secret Mage, we might see a repeat of Game 1. But we'll see. Could be Burn Mage.
Yes, there we go. Going to Game 5. Whatever mage this is against Pirate Warrior. It's interesting to me that Pirate Warrior, I mean, normally, it's an all-or-nothing deck, but usually it can always kind of sneak out a win, even in the most unfavorable situations. And that just hasn't been the case with Yellow Dart bringing this Pirate Warrior.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Surlos has. Yeah, Burn Mage is a very reasonable deck, but yeah, this Secret Mage has really gotten popular. Oh, Surlos is my favorite. I love Medivh.
Look at that.
I love Medivh.
Look at that Medivh. There's a polymorph sitting in that one.
Gotta be Burn Mage.
That guy, this got to be the burns. Surlos
Not even
wants to
not
feel the
even
burn.
Freeze.
What does he come out with? Flame Strike, Frostbolt. Ooh,
Alright, Frostbolt's good.
Frostbolt's
No-
good. Everything
No
else is
weapons
pretty
for
heavy.
Yellow Dart, so
It's really good that there's no
Camden's very
weapons.
reliant on weapons. Could
No.
change it any minute.
He top decked the weapon technically with that upgrade. Would you? Do you throw it
I
out
think
here?
you play it.
Yeah, 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. He's got a curve.
Yeah, you can play it.
Man, it's an awkward hand for Surlos right now. You
Well-
really did not want the 2/7 drops against Pirate Warrior.
You don't really want to play that Dread Corsair on 3, though. You'd rather play the South Sea on 3.
You're talking to him like a drug dealer in the back. Like, you don't really want to do that, do you? You don't want to do that, Yellow. You don't want to play that 2-drop.
Yeah, it just decides to save the upgrade. Get
Yeah,
the,
just passes it.
the
Oh,
hand.
great pull there.
Yeah, things have dramatically improved here.
Gets the ice block too. That's,
Yeah, Ice Block is actually the preferable one to be getting. I think something that sticks around for your Medivh's Valet.
Yeah, it's always gonna have value up until the end.
So, what's this? Are we cleaning out a Frothing here? Or is it upgrade? Yeah.
The blade be thirsty.
So do you freeze this out knowing you'll probably ping it next, or do you throw the ice block out right now?
I think killing it guaranteed is probably... Or you could always just freeze it and plan to ping it the next turn.
Yeah,
But
but it doesn't leave you much to do with that 2 mana.
yeah, I don't think you want to force yourself to have that ping, because you might want to fireball like a Bloodsail Cultist or another Frothing or something.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, obviously trading first. And this will open up Yellow Dart to a more attractive upgrade,
Yep.
whereas before it was... Oh, never mind.
Well, here
If
comes.
you ever choose to upgrade over N'Zoth's first mate, that is a problem.
That is a problem. You will have
wow,
a problem.
It's really setting up well for the South Sea Captain.
Yeah, it is. Look at that. Into the Bloodsail Raider. Throw your face into it.
Yep, and I think that Bloodsail Raider
Well, we'll see if Volcanic Potion exists. Primordial Glyph exists, which can find a Volcanic Potion. I mean,
I think the Raider gets fireballed.
really?
Yeah. We'll see. You could always dig for something with Glyph.
Yeah. If you Glyph and you find Blizzard, you can use it next turn. If you Glyph and find... There's so much to find with that. I don't know. I'm not certain. But he's thinking... He's itching on that Fireball right now.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like a 4-mana Fireball's just such a bad card against Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, you just have to use it as removal in some way.
Like any reasonable threat. Obviously, it's going to be missed when the South Sea Captain comes down.
Yeah.
You upgrade here?
Well, if you upgrade... Gives you a Reverse War Axe.
Yeah, 6 damage.
Usually you pay double for a Reverse War Axe, but that's not my call.
Yep. Alright, heavy stuff.
Heavy
Medivh
stuff.
And Alexstrasza. Alexstrasza can come in handy.
There's the
with
Glyph.
Ice
He's
Block,
got
but-
Firelands Portal. He's got... Ugh.
Oh,
Just bad.
Oh.
I mean, the
well, Firelands Portal's fine.
Arcane Missiles... The Arcane Missiles are going to be a 5-drop. As is the Firelands Portal. That's single target removal versus the potential to remove a lot of different small things. What do you think you take? I mean, the
Well,
Firelands does
Portal
develop.
is guaranteed kill South Sea deck can next turn.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
very
Greater
true.
Arcane is not.
And at least you also develop a 5 cost on top of it. Well, he's going to
Okay.
throw out the
Decides
ice
to
block.
go for esports,
Go for the esports.
which is fine because if they fail, you probably have fire.
Yeah.
You have flame strike
Taking-
after, and
9 damage right here, upwards of 13 damage if he drops the Kor'kron Elite.
alternatively, you could hit with this weapon, equip the Arcanite Reaper, and play Dread Corsair, which
Keeps developing,
That's-
but you've seen a lot of heavy stuff on the back end of of your opponent, so you got to think there's got to be a Blizzard or a Flame Strike sitting there, right? How much do you want to develop into this? Because yeah, you're doing a lot of damage, but we're going into turn 6, and turn 6 is when the mage can swing it.
well, Burn Mage typically doesn't play Blizzard.
Very true.
They definitely could be teching it. It would make
Well, even a
some
meteor,
sense. There's flexibility.
even
Oh,
a
yeah,
meteor could do something.
So have to position around that.
Did he not attack with the
carefully.
2/2? No, he just wants to go with the 5.
Oh yeah, he wants to get the 5 in to play around weapon removal,
Good
which
enough.
is smart.
That's smart playing from Yellow Dart right there.
Um,
There's the volcanic.
Oh, Patches did attack him.
So he did have a volcanic in this day. He did run at least
Oh,
one of them.
volcanic, easy.
Yep.
Nice.
But he's still staring down 9 damage.
Yeah.
And we are
That Dread Corsair
he's
out,
staring down
squeezing an armor up.
9 damage going into turn 7. He's going to have the ice block on 8. Does he have time to get an Alexstrasza out?
Not at this rate, no.
And then there's the other Arcanite, so I mean he's just going to throw Reaper into this knowing he has the Reaper again.
Blood
Yeah.
and plunder.
Yeah, and then at that point it'll have to be
Yeah.
another Frostbolt
Well, if we're looking at it from
or an
Surlus's,
Ice Block.
if you're looking at it from Surlus's perspective, you probably throw the Flame Strike here, buys you some more time. Well, you could go Arcane Missiles and
Yeah, and
Medivh's
just one
Valet.
has to hit.
Yeah,
It's the guaranteed one though.
it's true.
Oh yeah, that Alex Strauss is really just one turn off.
Yeah,
Needs
just-
to pick up
That's
another
second ice block or a primordial glyph into something else.
or a Frostbolt for a chance. 'Cause
Yep.
There's still some South Sea
And
deckhands
he's,
to get picked up.
and he's gonna see Bittertide Hydra on the other end of it.
Oh man, really need to pick something. Arcane Intellect would be great.
Give us something.
Meteor
Oh,
Secrets is not. Firelands Portal can get a taunt.
that's
it.
about it. Let's see.
Ali Armorsmith, Direhorn, Hatchling, Fen Creeper,
Earth Elemental. I know.
Earth Elemental.
Stampeding Coda.
Not a taunt.
That will do it.
Yep, so Yellow Dart takes it, and that brings it
Played.
in favor of HSA. Oh, it makes me sad to hear Medivh.
There it is.
So now it's 10 to 8.
10 to 8 for Dirty Mike and the boys.
HSA.
Oh no, for
Is
HSA,
up.
of course, for Yellow Dart.
Yes.
This is why I only do this every so often.
Alright, Dirty Mike has a chance, I think.
Get that out of here. Hold on a second. I put the wrong spots up. 1.4. Just for continuity's sake of the overlay. Let me fix that. Okay. That's for you, Twitch chat. That looks proper.
Alright, I guess for the next game, Markshire's going to step in.
Yep.
And I'm going to step out.
Sounds good.
So we're going to do a little caster shuffle.
Much
So
appreciated, Slench.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest pans out.
Absolutely.
Alright, enjoy.
Yeah,
Head
thanks for
off.
coming on, Sunch.
Oh yeah, of course. Alright, bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, yeah, that was quite a series.
Yeah, I mean that was super fun. I mean, that's what you expect when you come into the championship week of DHL. Is like there's probably going to be a lot of 5-game matches coming into this, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 2 series prior to this also both went to Game 5. So that is 3 out of the 5 series that have all gone to the full games, and I wouldn't be surprised if the next 2 did too.
And now
this-
we're coming into game 2, which is Brewski and Lefty 2-1 1-1. He's very binary. Brewski bringing the Druid, Mage, Paladin, Shaman, and Lefty bringing the Druid, Mage, Paladin, Warrior. So that Shaman Warrior is the only thing that's kind of sticking out there. We'll find out their bans in a little bit. But Mark Shar, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're thinking with this match number 2 of Sunday night?
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting. This is something that we'll be talking about for a while, is Dirty Mike's team composition. Lefty, I want to say for most of the season he was a 3 or a 4 seed. At least I remember when I did the player power rankings, he came in as a 4 seed, and now he is a 1 seed in the finals. He's facing off against Brewski, who has one of the highest total PRs of anyone in the league. He won Rookie of the Season last season, I think only losing 1 match the entire season. And also a participant at DreamHack. I don't exactly know what his record was there, but I think it was pretty respectable.
As was Yellow Dart was a dream. There's a lot of DreamHack folks that we're seeing in THL, but Brewski is that guy that just kind of, he jumped in and like, I have a decent record in THL and I'm Brasky. And then Brewski comes in, and he has just been on fire since he came into the league last season, being Rookie of the Year, and then just developing. What is his PR now? Is it close to 5, or where's he at?
Oh, it is well above 600.
Well
I want
above.
to say it's like, it's maybe it's like 620 or something. I
Good
could
Lord.
check. But it's very high. His actual PR.
Good Lord.
Right now, we do have joining us JR Juggernaut, who will be casting these next 2 matches.
How's it going, JR?
Greetings, everybody.
Fantastic. Well, it looks like Brewski's just going to be making a deck, and then after that, they'll kind of go through the band structure and go from there.
So just to give me a quick update, who won the last match?
Last match went to Yellow Dart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Yellow Dart won
3-2.
3-2. His Pirate Warrior betrayed him until the very end, and when it came down to it, Surlos had a Burn Mage that was super heavy to begin with, and just didn't have the removal to kind of go up against and compete against that Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, that's the kind of matchup where you tell me I would honestly immediately assume Pirate Warrior takes it just based on my own experiences.
Yeah, because
But-
Pirate Warrior takes. Pirate
somebody?
Warrior,
Yeah,
it just
kidding. Are
Pirate
we
Warrior,
literally
it just takes. It does not ask.
Well,
Well, it
this will
looks
be interesting then. So now Dirty Mike and the boys, pressure is on.
absolutely. So it looks like the score is now 10-8 in favor of HSA.
I mean,
Yep.
we knew going into this, there was no possible way that the situation was pretty straightforward. Whoever wins 2 of these 3 matches, regardless of what the scores are, they're going to win the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I went ahead did the math on myself just to make sure. But yeah, even if one side wins 1 match in a sweep and loses the other 2-3, they would still lose the overall series because in the playoffs, the tie goes to the team that has won 3 out of the 5 matches.
Yep. I always love the tiebreaker structure. If anyone is watching on the stream and has not looked at like the tiebreaker structure, both of just regular matches and of just like going to the playoffs, it is one of the funnest things, especially in the last week of the season.
Yeah, I like it. A little update to our earlier discussion. Brewski's PR is 625, and that's actually the 2nd highest PR of anyone in the league.
Wow.
And this is someone who's only played in the league for 2 seasons. It's just extremely impressive.
Well, who's the highest in the league? I'm gonna guess Slimsh, or who
Yeah.
else?
Yeah,
I think
Slimsh coming in at 720, I think.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Slimsh has been playing for a while though. He's had time to accumulate that. Definitely an impressive feat.
Good
I,
Lord.
I kind of want to make like that asshole joke of a comment, and be like, Slimsh, what, I expected more from you knowing your actual PR.
Yeah, right. Excuse
No,
me
I'm
for
just-
Mr. 720 over here.
As my teammate, so I would never say a bad thing about him, but I honestly had no idea it was that high. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Well.
So if we take a little bit of a closer look into the classes both these players are bringing, I know last series Brasky and Slimsh talked a little bit about how they were surprised Shaman was underrepresented, but Brewski is bringing it here. He's got Shaman along with Druid, Mage, and Paladin, and Lefty is on Druid, Mage, Paladin, but with Warrior
I
instead
find
of
it-
Shaman.
I find it very interesting that Brewski was the only person out of this entire playoff of all the players remaining who did not bring Warrior in this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classes.
But even then, when he doesn't bring the Warrior, you look at those 4 classes, and each of those classes has at least 2, if not 3, viable archetypes. So we really don't know where they're going in with that.
Yeah, especially with Shaman. I feel like people always are going to expect Token Shaman, but as somebody who's been playing a few different variants of Shaman, I can tell you there are multiple viable options there. So.
Especially in the tournament format. I mean, Jade Elemental Shaman, now that just that Jade Spirit becoming an Elemental and smoothing out the curve does a lot for that deck. And then even if you are Spirit Echo, like Control Shaman, you probably wouldn't bring it in THL, but you would bring it to a tournament knowing that you're going to go full anti-aggro.
Absolutely. But I will say, even before that change was made to Jade Spirit, I was playing a variant of Elemental Shaman, and it was actually working really well for me in THL. So,
see, this is why I like JR Juggernaut is a smart human being, because he brings Jade Elemental Shamans when it's not correct. I brought Tempo Warrior and Tempo. I brought just Tempo decks the entire time. When it wasn't, I threw Tempo into things that should not even be Tempo. I would bring just Tempo Priest for no reason. And just be like, hey, let's see what happens.
What is Tempo Priest?
Tempo Priest, Jackie Chan took the Miracle Priest archetype and turned it into a Tempo deck.
You're kidding.
Yes. Well, no, I'm not kidding, but yes, I am completely serious when I say it is ridiculously fun.
No, I actually know what deck you're talking about. It's just I thought it was called Miracle Priest.
It is the Miracle Priest kind of shell, and then he started just tweaking it, and almost like he at one point said it might have, like, he wanted to make like an aggro priest, and it's not an aggro, but it turns into this very tempo style priest deck.
Interesting.
So what cards?
Jackie Chan is a mad genius. So
oh yeah.
What cards does he put in that makes it a tempo priest?
Well, let me find it for you. But as I look up that deck list for you, I just got some notes from our players who said that they are going to be ready to go. So Brewski has banned Mage against Lefty. So Lefty's Mage is banned.
I unfortunately say this, but I'm having trouble getting my game to load.
Gotcha. That is fine. You can go and you drop in when you are ready to go, JR. I will let them know when to start their match, and then once you drop in, I will drop out.
No problem.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but Brasky, luckily,
I'm like
for you
trying to
get that figured out.
So Lefty's Mage is banned, and Brewski's Shaman is banned, is what we have.
Okay.
So, are we ready to roll?
I'm ready.
Sounds great. Well, I will let them know to get rolling. So we have a banned Mage on Lefty's side, and we have a banned Shaman on Brewski's side. So it's going to be interesting to see what that means for the decks that they are actually bringing.
Yeah, I would say I'd probably predict a more aggressive lineup from Lefty, probably a Pirate Warrior and an Aggro Druid, just based on that Shaman ban. Mage ban, that isn't a ban that you see that often. And
Not
I'm
often at all.
I'm actually wondering what strategy he's going for if he banned Mage. I guess I would have to assume that he's running Aggro Druid rather than Jade Druid.
Yeah.
If he's banning Mage.
I mean, if you're afraid of Mage, you're afraid of what? You're probably afraid of board clear. You're afraid of burn. It's kind of interesting that you would ban Mage, especially with Warrior, Druid, and Paladin, knowing you're going up against those 3 classes, and you ban the Mage. That is something that I would not be expecting.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. It's certainly a bold choice, but it's not one I'm going to question too much right now, just given Brewski's track record. Although I'm pretty sure as we talked about, he did play in DreamHack over the weekend, and this match did have to be pushed back a couple hours, so he might be getting in late from a
driving back from Atlanta.
Driving back, although I want to say that he lives close to Atlanta.
Gotcha.
I don't actually know where he lives, so but yeah, I mean, he's probably driving back, might be a little fatigued.
Let's see here. So we have Brewski going up against Lefty, and I'm looking at these things right now, and it looks like they both do not have Spectate open.
That is unfortunate. So
right now, what's going to happen is that Markshire and I are going to guess what they're doing right now while I tell them to enable Spectate. I'm going to guess right now that Brewski has brought some type of dino size Paladin, And Lefty has brought some other type. Let's see. Okay, so Brewski has finally been enabled, so we can check out him from that perspective.
Oh, nice. Lefty Spectate is also on.
Great, awesome. So it's Warrior against Mage.
So now we can see that Lefty is on Pirate Warrior, and Brewski looks to be running a Burn Mage, and we can already see the Gluttonous Ooze in hand. I wouldn't be surprised to just see him keep that in his opening hand.
Absolutely.
Seeing how powerful it is against Warrior. And, okay, that must have been his post-mulligan hand, actually. Lefty here, sort of an awkward hand with the double Arcanite Reaper. Reaper is a very powerful card against Mage, but you really don't want two of them in your opening hand.
Yeah.
And in fact, he doesn't have anything to play until turn 4 right now. He's just going to be forced to play this deckhand out for tempo.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of, it's awkward in general just to see what's going to happen here.
And Mortal Strike, again, that's not what he wants to see. He's just going to be forced to armor up and hit Brewski's face for 1.
Boy, that is such a heavy hand for Lefty.
An incredible discovery.
Yeah, normally this is a big favored matchup for the Pirate Warrior, but this is just not looking like Lefty. This is not what Lefty wanted to see in his opening.
No, definitely not. Part of the reason why it's so favored is that unless the Mage draws their Volcanic Potion, the Pirate Warrior is generally able to build up a good board with their early game minions, and that's just not what happened here, as we can see.
And just more board control coming from Brewski right here. Yeah, he knows the name of the game. He knows at some point some big stuff's going to come out. Some big weapons are going to come out. He's got the Gluttonous Ooze to answer the Arcanite Reaper when it happens. It's sad times for Lefty right now. With such, he's drawn what, one drop so far, I think.
Yeah, well, he's drawn both the deckhand and the Nazoth first mate,
Yeah.
but still fairly poor draws. I think it's very important to note that Brewski is holding on to that Gluttonous Ooze and not just playing it on turn 3 for the tempo. Really, the only way that Brewski loses the game from this position is some upgraded Arcanite Reaper that lets Lefty just hit him in the face for a bunch, uncontested, and he's holding on to the answer for that. He's just going to fireball these minions. He doesn't need to actually extend onto the board and try to pressure the Warrior because he has the Gluttonous Ooze in hand.
Yeah. And Brewski's got burn for days. He's got removal, he's got Gluttonous Ooze, he's got weapon removal, he's got ice block, he's got so much, he's got card draw.
Yeah. Now, the Gluttonous Ooze will most likely come out here, and Brewski, all he can do is fit in a ping, but that does let him clear off his Dreadforce here.
Yeah, the
and
ping
gain 5 armor.
Ping is fine as long as your opponent's board is empty.
Right. And he's really maintained his board lead for most of the game, aside from the turn 1 South Sea deckhand from Lefty. Brewski has really been the one with minions on the board.
Yeah. And obviously Lefty didn't have the best draw with his Pirate Warrior, but this just goes to show you the difference in what players tech in to a deck, because we saw Eater of Secrets and we saw other types of decks in the last match from Surlos and Yellow Dart, and this time we see the Gluttonous Ooze come out here and just do work. Like, that is a very it was a risky tech, but it paid off dividends in this match that is usually unfavored for the Mage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't really overstate the importance of tech cards in THL when you already know your opponent's classes. I would say that Dirty Mike and the boys is sort of infamous for running tech cards themselves. I think maybe it was the match earlier or it was the semis, but I remember watching some of their games and seeing they had Eater of Secrets in almost every deck. So they certainly know how to use that, and Brewski does too.
Yeah, and it's just Lefty. If you're Lefty right now, you just got to feel bad because there's not a lot of comeback mechanics for a Pirate Warrior against a Burn Mage. You need to start fast, and you need to just keep going and finish the game by turn 7. And here we are going into turn 7, and there's not a lot going for you right now. Does he take out this Gluttonous Ooze and hopefully draw? I mean, there's both of your big weapons are gone now.
Yeah, maybe he might have to. I mean, if Lefty had sat on the Arcanite Reaper, maybe there's a chance he just is able to top deck upgrade after upgrade
Yep.
and get in some direct damage. But I think he's just hoping that some of these minions stick and he can get damage in with those. But
And there
of
goes
course the Flame Strike means
You know,
that's
there
not
goes
gonna
the Flame Strike, and there's not much else because even if this Leroy comes down, you're probably still dropping Medivh on turn 8. If not, you can still drop an Ice Barrier and throw Medivh's Valet. Medivh's Valet already has value because it's going to be triggered.
Sorry, delay, guys.
Hey, you're fine. You're fine. It's just
that's
answer.
good, yeah.
It's answer after answer. Juggernaut, you're going to appreciate the fact that it's a Pirate Warrior game that's lasted less than 5 minutes, but you'd be surprised who wins.
Well, you know what? I'm already surprised, and I do appreciate that. Thank you for asking.
You are welcome, my friend. So
JR, are you into the game
I
yet?
feel like your voice is like so magnificent. It is
I-
perfect for this kind of job, I have to say.
I appreciate that, my friend. I do have a background in radio. And here comes Medivh. So a 7/7 on board, staring down the barrel of Immortal Strike, Leroy Jenkins, and upgrade.
Not much you can really do with that right now, unfortunately.
Yeah. Juggernaut, are you able to see the match now?
I am actually. I've got both sides spectated right
Fantastic.
now. So I'm all good.
Oh, excellent,
Well,
excellent.
I'll finish this game out with you guys and then drop out.
No problem.
Sounds good to me, Brasky. Yeah, it's looking like it will be over soon. Lefty does have a decent amount of burn damage in hand, but with the 2 Ice Barriers in Brewski's hand, it's just very difficult to see the Pirate Warrior eking out a win
He
here.
doesn't even need ice block.
Yeah, you're looking at just he's only down to 9 health. No, sorry, add 8, add 16 on top of that.
Now he's just gonna make.
And a taunt. Let's just throw a taunt. Let's just throw salt in the wound.
Yeah, and
It's just putting in work.
I will say that double Ice Barrier is not that common in Burden Mage now. A lot of people have opted to run counter spells instead of Ice Barriers.
For sure.
Or if they run Barrier at all,
And,
it's usually just as a one-off.
The only thing I'll say about Lefty is that he's playing this. I mean, obviously he's not winning this match, but he's playing it out because he wants to see what's in Brewski's hand. And that's he's at the very.
I would say that, except
Oh no,
does
he's
it really matter?
Yeah, it
Because
doesn't.
Brewski, once he wins
I just got done watching a whole bunch of Last Hero Standing, and here I am thinking he's
Yeah.
getting information.
Yeah, a lot of us have been watching DreamHack. So.
And NA casters lel. Good lord. Well,
So I think Lefty realizes now that he can't do anything.
Yeah.
So he's just going to concede this one, move on to the next match.
so Brewski takes the win with the mage. And gentlemen, I will see you on the other end.
Thank
All
you
right,
very much.
thanks for joining us, Brasky.
So now the question is going to become, what's going to happen now? How
Yeah.
is Lefty going to respond?
So Brewski can now move to either his Druid or his Paladin, and based on the Mage ban that we saw, I would not be surprised if this were an aggro Druid.
Yeah, I
So,
can see that.
and that's a pretty good deck to queue into Pirate Warrior. That's definitely a favored matchup for the Druid.
Yeah.
So, Brewski, he only knows one of Lefty's decks right now. He knows that Lefty is on the Pirate Warrior, so I think he's fine with just queuing up that Druid here. If it, of course, it is aggro, and in case Lefty queues the Pirate Warrior again, it'll be looking good for him.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the second match is always one of the most interesting in terms of how it can play out, just because of what deck you have to be very careful of what you choose to move on to next. So they could both have a number of different strategies or different possibilities in their decisions. So I'm curious to see if you're right in terms of if your presumption is correct, or if they maybe have a different strategy in mind. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that. Just basing that off of the Mage ban from Brewski, of course. And I mean, the deck he was running, the Burn Mage, that's usually does well against other mages. Of course, he might have been expecting a Secret Mage from Lefty.
It's possible. I could see either. I mean, as we brought up before, it's like there's a number of different variants, so there's obviously more than one way of going about this.
Right.
And your
So
suggestion is completely plausible. So
yeah, now we can see that Brewski is going to go on the aggro druid, and
Yeah.
lefty will queue up the pirate warrior again into it.
I guess he's hoping maybe just wants to get that win out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, he, as we said before, like losing 2-3 doesn't really matter for lefty. In fact, I want to say, yeah, I mean, like he basically has to win for it to matter.
Did you just notice that Brewski intentionally kept the patches in hand?
He didn't intentionally keep it.
Are you
He
sure? I
mulliganed
thought
away at Hungry Crab.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought that was what he
Yeah.
did. My
No,
bad.
sometimes that happens. I would be very surprised if he had done that.
Like, not that I would judge him harshly for it, but I have to be like, wait, what? Oh my god, this turn is good. This is insane. That lefty's able to
Yeah.
do turn.
This is very powerful, and this is exactly the kind of start that the Pirate Warrior is going to need to beat Aggro Druid. And it really just hinges on getting that Fiery War Axe. And of course, the 0 mana Dread Corsair follow up is very powerful.
And what's even worse is the fact that this is one of those situations where Fledgling, which can be very game breaking in certain matchups, is not going to be helpful here.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, people complain about Fledgling a lot. It's definitely really frustrating when you just lose a game solely to that card. But on turn 3, if you're behind on the board, it's really not that good. It's just a 3-3, and Brewski can't even afford to play it here. He's just going to have to try to clear the board instead.
I mean, on the bright side, this is going to be very helpful for him, since now lefty won't have any kind of small minion or easy, simple way of getting rid of the 3-1. But at the same time, based on the momentum he's building up, he doesn't really need one either.
No, I mean, definitely very important that Brewski shuts down that South Sea captain value, but I think it's still going to come out here. It's still a 3-3, still forces a response from Brewski, and lefty's definitely going to have to kill this 3-1 off.
Absolutely, which is unfortunate considering what he can. So, I mean, granted,
Right.
dealing with it, but
Yeah, now Brewski luckily picks up the Tar Creeper, otherwise he just would have had to leave his Fledgling to die. But this Spellbreaker on curve is so strong.
Yeah, and this is probably one of the best targets you would have in this matchup for Spellbreaker. I don't think you can find something that would work out better.
No, I would say it definitely is the best target. And that Innervate, I think, is the worst draw in Brewski's deck.
Oh, it absolutely.
He's just going to play the Fledgling out. He knows it's going to die.
That was definitely the worst thing you could have drawn. But yeah, now lefty's going to draw the Frothing, which could actually be really good here. I mean, I feel like that's probably the best card to play.
Yeah.
You want to hold on to the Cultist.
I like the Frothing here. Just Frothing, kill the Fledgling off, and then go face.
Exactly.
It doesn't feel great to leave any minions on the board against an aggro druid because of how many buffs they run, but lefty doesn't have any way to actually deal with the 1/5, and it really isn't a huge threat.
It's also worth noting that even if he does have something to buff up the Tar Creeper, best case scenario is buff it up by +1/+1, which doesn't even make it very useful here. So
True.
and plus you see here, even if he wants to clear the captain, he still has to he'll have to basically buff up that Frothing by 3 attack in the process, and he's still taking 2 damage. So it's not very good.
I think it's really interesting that lefty chose to trade in the Spellbreaker rather than the South Sea Captain last turn. I guess he really valued that pirate synergy, but he gets slightly punished for it now because he misses out on 1 damage to his opponent's face and 1 damage on the Tar Creeper by playing it that way.
Yeah, although I personally think it probably wouldn't have made much of a difference, since
It rarely matters, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, plus I totally understand the reasoning behind it, since by doing that, if he drew into a weapon, that would have been huge value, or if he just had another pirate that he wanted to play, something that could buff up, that would have been fine. But
Yep. I mean, he did have the Bloodsail Coldest already in hand, so I definitely see the reasoning.
yeah, I mean, I guess he thought even if I don't have a weapon to buff up, at least I have another pirate that buffs it up. That will be buffed up by the captain. So
Right. things are still looking pretty grim for Brewski. Captain Greenskin might not be the best draw, but it can still just be played as a 5-mana 5/4 to pressure.
Yeah,
And of course, Aggro Druid doesn't really have any way to come back on the board.
Yeah. Plus, he also knows if Brewski doesn't really draw anything, he could easily just, beat him down with this and Leroy, and that'd be game. And yep, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, Brewski really needed to hit Living Mana, I think, to have a chance, but this is going to be an easy lethal for Lefty.
This is honestly one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of Aggro Druid in general, because while the deck is very powerful and can have some very some boards that are very hard to break, it also suffers from the fact that it has very little, if any, draw power. So if you find yourself in a very disadvantageous position, you're going to have a very big tough time making a comeback. Like,
absolutely.
Living Mana are great, but they only help you so much.
Yeah, the only draw that the deck runs is 2 Mark of Y'Sharges, and of course that is conditional draw on the minion you buff being a beast. And some decks also run, I'm forgetting the name of it, it's the 4-mana 5/4 that can draws 3 cards if your hand is empty.
Oh, Ginzo the Shark.
Genzo the Shark, right. Although
Genzo, it's called, right?
that's not running, yeah, Genzo. It's not running in all lists, but it's definitely an interesting option.
Yeah,
if you're frustrated with the
I also
lack
heard
of
of a couple builds playing Nourish, oddly enough.
that doesn't seem correct to me. That seems very odd, but I guess people are really desperate for the draw.
I mean, it's not something I'd say that's become mainstream. Like Genzo, I've seen in plenty of builds. This is just more of a very, very niche kind of choice. But I mean, it's more just making the point that some people have tried to really increase the draw power somehow because they see that that's a weakness of the deck at times.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. So Brewski, after getting that draw with Aggro Druid, is going to pivot over to his Paladin.
I will fight.
And so will Lefty.
command the light.
And it looks like Lefty has a control Paladin against Brewski's mid-range.
Yeah, although it is, I mean, no, it's probably control. I'm still kind of caught off guard by the fact that control builds are playing the Rallying Blade.
Yeah, I've played a decent amount of Control Paladin, or rather N'Zoth Paladin, just with Rallying Blade as a one-of, and I think it fits in really well with the deck, even though it doesn't give great value. Just a 3-mana Fiery War Axe is good enough a lot of the time. It's especially very good against Mage, kills their Mana Worms and Arcanologists.
Right, and I also get with some of the builds playing that, because some of the builds are playing Dread Corsair as well, so it's like another weapon to make that very cheap. So I do get that reasoning. I haven't played I hadn't laddered with Control Paladin in a while. I actually got my second legend with Control Paladin back in May, excuse me. And
Nice.
that was playing one of the more like traditional builds with the focusing more on Curator, playing a double Kodo and double Primordial Drake.
So interesting that you bring up the list with Dread Corsair, commonly known as UK Paladin. I think that Brewski might be running that, and I'm just basing that off of the Rallying Blade in his deck. We haven't seen patches or Dread Corsair yet, but it's definitely one of the more popular Paladin builds at the moment.
Absolutely.
Ooh, he's also running a Galaka Crawler, though, which I guess is just as a tech card. The Pirate Warrior's already gotten through for Lefty, so it's probably not going to do that much for the rest of this series. But yeah, just really goes to show how much both of these teams cared about teching their decks.
Right, but this is also kind of a testament to how flexible Paladin is as a class right now, because even not only are there 3 to 4 different decks that people can be playing, 3 to 4 different variants, but you're also seeing just how much those lists can vary just with few choices and just a couple of small picks. So at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we come across various picks that we don't normally see in these decks. It seems like we can't make any type of assumptions as to what they're playing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lefty he's just going to play the Stonehill here and picks up the Primordial Drake. Definitely the most powerful choice. for sure. It's just very good against any sort of aggressive deck. He can make it to turn 8, and his hand isn't bad right now, so I think he should be able to. Then that Primordial Drake can do a lot of work.
Honestly, kind of surprised he decided to play the Megasaur now.
I don't think it's too bad. His
bad
alternate play would have been.
It seems like he could have provided a better setup for it, even if he's worried about Lefty potentially having like an equality play of some kind.
So he could have gone Vilephan Hero Power, but the problem is then that board could get played with a equality play or even like some sort of Pyromancer play, and then the Megasaur wouldn't have been great. Playing this 5-4 on the board forces Lefty to respond to it, and he's going to just have to True Silver it down, and now these 2 minions are still free to hit Lefty for another 7 damage.
That's true, yeah. I mean, now Lefty's going to be put down to 10. And even if he's got an equality consecration play, it's not looking great for him right now.
Yeah. This also saves Brewski's more going wide turn on his turn 5, which goes into his turn 6 Sunkeeper Tarim. Of course, I would assume that the equality comp will come down, or at the very least, just a consecration that would minimize that.
I feel like it has to, just because even if you don't know, even if you're in Lefty spot and you don't know his hand, you have to be thinking to yourself, if I'm not careful, I could easily I could easily lose next turn. Like, he really knows
right.
that Brewski has a big board presence. There are a lot of different ways that he can capitalize on that and just beat him down and finish him off. So I think it's dangerous right now to leave that board alive in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he recognizes that and goes for the equality clear. It is a valuable resource, though, and now Brewski is going to be able to go wide again, getting 4 minions on the board, and there's no second Consecrate for Lefty. Oh, Caster's Curse right there.
What was that?
Oh, sorry, Caster's Curse. Lefty immediately top decks it when I say that he doesn't have it.
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting, because now he can actually just clear most of the board. I don't know how I feel about him using the True Silver on that, the 1/1, but I mean,
I mean, it does play around Sunkeeper Tarim, plays around Megasaur and Wall Vader.
Played some Sunkeeper Tarim into that. I don't feel like there'd be any reason to be that concerned. So, like, especially knowing he also had the Tar Creeper to play, so it seemed like it was better. He was better off waiting, but I get it.
Yeah, and now these Galaka Crawlers are going to have to come down. Like we said, they're really not going to hit a target in this match. So this is the best they're going to get.
Unless he is somehow playing Corsair, which is possible, but at this point, I guess we doubt it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what's the best option here, because I doubt he's going to play Steed in case he's got Tarim on board. And if he plays Tyrion, that's not bad, but it still suffers to Tarim as well. Like, anything he plays is basically he has to worry about Tarim. So
yeah, I was about to say that. I mean, Tarim is just going to be... It's just such a powerful card. Lefty doesn't have a great way to play around it right now. I think he maybe just wants to Tyrion. At least the Divine Shield will make things difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Or he could Stampeding Kodo and Hero Power just to take away a body from the board.
I'm honestly leaning towards Kodo. Oh, he's going Steed. Oh, no. Like, that's not terrible here, since obviously he can be able to take out one of the crawlers. But, yeah, Tarim's going to be able to take that out. And he's going to capitalize on that. Ouch. And the worst part is he doesn't even realize he's got a second Tarim in hand, which is why I'm kind of confused why he didn't play the other one.
Yeah, my game just crashed, but I will be back soon. So, yeah, did Brewski play the Tarim that he got from Stonehill?
Yes, he did.
Interesting, yeah. So a slight mistake there.
Yeah,
but,
I guess maybe
probably
just
won't
thought
end
it
up
was
mattering.
the one from his deck. It's possible. I mean, either way, Lefty's not going to necessarily assume he's got the other one in hand, so. Oh, well. So now Lefty is... he's going to Primordial Drake, clear most of the board, which is good. Now we've got a 4-8 taunt out there, and Brewski just has that 3-1. He can still clear the Drake if he really wants to, but I'm wondering if he really does. Okay, he's gonna play the second turn.
Wow, this hand for Brewski, he already has a weapon equipped and just has both the True Silver and the Rallying Blade in hand.
And and now Lefty draws his Sunkeeper. I feel like here you just go Tyrion Hero Power.
Yeah, I don't
really no
need
better
it
play.
too much. Yeah, Kodo doesn't accomplish anything. I don't
Nope.
think there's any point in healing now. And
No.
he could also go Hero Power and play his own Tarum if he wants to, just to decrease the health on Brewski's Tarum. It seems weak.
I mean, it's awkward because on one hand, if he Tarums, then he'll have to use up a fair bit of resources in order to clear his Tarum. But at the same time, I just think Tyrion would be better since he'd have to sacrifice all his resources in order to get rid of it. But he's just gonna Tarum.
Yeah. Oh, so Brewski's 2 damage off lethal right now.
Yeah.
Wait, does Poisonous? Yep. Okay, Wind Fury also does it.
That's game. Wow. I almost missed that he had lethal there. That's crazy.
Yeah, that just shows you the power of Sunkeeper Tarum and Stonehill Defender.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, I see where Lefty was going over there in that last play, but I don't think I couldn't see a situation where that was going to be the best option.
Yeah, I mean, it did provide him with the most tempo on the board. He wasn't in a great position, and I think his thought process was, if he cannot die exactly that turn, then
Right.
the Tarum would have set himself up in the best position to win next turn, because he probably would have been able to get the board back at least somewhat, and then Forbidden Healing and possibly stabilize from there.
Which I get. My only problem with that is I feel like even if that's the case, I just feel like Tyrion would have been a better defensive strategy. And on top of that, it seems like the only reason you would have had to play Tarum over Tyrion would have been to use Forbidden Healing there just to get the extra life, which he didn't even do. So
Yeah. I mean, he could have healed.
But it's like the thing you have to consider is if he had played Sunkeeper, then he would have only had to sack off 1 minion, whereas if he played Tyrion, he would have had to sack off at least 2. That was just my thought process. Or at least he would have had to bring down the his own Tarum to 1 health, which would have been very crucial. All right,
Yeah.
but moving on to game 4. Now Brewski is just 1 game away from winning this championship for HSA.
Yep, Brewski, he still has to win with his Aggro Druid, and this is typically a poor matchup against the Control Paladin. Aggro Druid is a deck that needs the board to survive. It can rely heavily on its bombs like Living Mana against Control, and cards like Consecrate, and even Wild Pyromancer to some extent,
especially
just destroy it.
I think at this point it's pretty obvious Lefty's probably just looking for he's got the Pyromancer. If he can get the equality, then I think he's pretty much set. If Brewski just builds up a big board, he'll have a 4-mana board wipe.
Yeah, it's a solid start. He does mulligan back the Pyromancer, which is an important card in this matchup, but he's going to opt just to get a better curve. I think he already has the turn 2 Hydrologist into the turn 3 Rallying Blade, which will help stave off some of this early aggression.
Thankfully.
Brewski's not going to wait to get...
He's definitely where he wants to be, but at the same
Yeah.
time, he's still going to really have to wait. You're still giving Brewski a couple turns to really build up a strong board, and that could be all he needs to finish this match.
Yeah, Brewski's, he's not even going to wait to get value out of the Bloodsail Corsair's Battlecry, even though he knows that Rallying Blade is a card Lefty runs. He's just trying to set up the best Mark of the Lotus possible.
Absolutely.
And this Hungry Crab is actually going to be extremely important. I don't think Lefty even saw it because Brewski mulliganed it away next game. And wow, he actually chooses to Hero Power instead of Hydrologist, playing around the Hungry Crab. I wonder if he was actually predicting that, or he just wanted to save the Hydrologist.
I have to assume it's the former because I feel like his biggest concern, if he's not worried about Hungry Crab, is I don't want to throw something out there that's just easy for my opponent to get rid of. I want them to sacrifice resources if they're going to do it. So if he's throwing out a 1/1, he knows like, okay, my opponent that's not doing anything towards getting me towards serving that purpose. So he must have really been worried about the hungry crab.
Wow, that's an impressive read.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, of course, Lefty is still really not in a great position.
No.
He hasn't really drawn his high cost cards, which is good against aggro, but even having a hand full of cards as low as 3 drops isn't that great against this powerful, aggressive start from aggro druid.
But this Tar Creeper is going to help him a lot because at this point, Brewski has to sack off 2 of his minions in order to get rid of it. There's no way he can sacrifice anything less than that. So that's really good. That was a really good draw for him. But I'm sure Lefty realized like he's got to figure something out fast and try to deal with this powerful board of his.
Yeah, Lefty's hand is not bad. He played the Tar Creeper this turn. He has 2 more low-cost taunts in hand. Brewski is going to be able to take some pretty nice trades here. I'm assuming he's playing the Hungry Crab with this line.
Yeah.
And he has, let's see, he has 10 power on the board, even after having cleared that taunt.
Yeah. I feel like this is the turn to Rallying Blade because, I mean, otherwise it's like, what do you do? Like he's gotta start, clearing that board somehow, and he doesn't really have a better option, especially because next turn he'll be able to clear off something else in addition and still play something like the Burn Bristle or the Stonehill Defender, something like that.
Right, yeah, I think that the Direwolf just has to die when your opponent has multiple minions on the board, and it's good to develop the weapon early because, like you said, he gets 2 hits out of it. Of course, the Tar Creeper pickup from Brewski sort of throws a wrench into that plan.
It does, but at the same time, not terrible here because he can still play the Burn Bristle, which will be good for at least stalling for a bit. And he could also play the Hydrologist, knowing that both Hungry Crabs have been played. So that could at least give him something to work with here.
Yeah, I think it's really his only option now. Stonehill just doesn't really cut it. He really needs the heal from the Burn Bristle.
What is also good news, though, is the fact that if Brewski does decide to play Bittertide Hydra next turn, Lefty will have the perfect counter that in Aldor Peacekeeper. So he's definitely not out of this yet. Oh, God.
Oh, wow, that Savage Roar is huge.
I feel like I just should not have opened my mouth.
How much damage does Brewski have now?
Well, so he's got 4, 6, 7 on board, plus another 10. That's 17, but obviously at least 4 of that, at least, well, no, he's got potentially 18 damage.
I want to say this isn't lethal, but it's close.
I'm trying to do the math, because if he goes in with the most, he'd have to sack off 6 of that damage in order to get rid of the Burn Bristle, and then that brings him up to 14, and then he'd have left 5 plus 4 plus 3 is 12. No, he'd be 2 off. So
no. Yeah, you're right. He's 2 off, so very close, but not quite there.
Right.
So Brewski's just going to hold the Savage Roar, just going to Hero Power, not even develop the Bittertide Hydra here. And this will still set up lethal with Savage Roar for next turn.
Yes. Although, well, I'm trying to think. No, I don't. I'm trying to think if there's anything he can do here. I think
Lefty
the best,
could
probably the only thing
Stonehill.
I would say the only thing he could do is he'd probably have to Stonehill Defender, Hero Power, and then Noble Sacrifice, and use the Rallying Blade to finish off the Tar Creeper. I'm pretty sure that would definitely keep him alive at least 1 turn. 1 more turn, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think that would save him.
Yeah.
So he goes with the Stonehill first.
He's gonna
Not
take-
the best options. I'm not sure about that Grimesteep Protector. I think even the 3-mana Tauren Warrior was better, because when are you going to get the chance to
I would agree.
even get to turn 7 in this game and be able to play that?
I think he's just hoping that by the time he is able to play that, that'll be enough to stall him off because he knows that a 6/6 with taunt is something that he won't be able to deal with without sacrificing major resources, but I guess we'll see.
Right. So previous Dark is picked up.
Okay, so that's going to be helpful. To
That's
draw a card.
still one off, I think. Or
He's still one
wait,
off.
no, it's more than one off.
No, he'd still be one off. Oh, no, it is more than one off. I'm an idiot. You're right. Huh.
So I think it's still fine to start with the mark. Just go ahead and
He
draw.
might as well. He's gonna have to throw something in there. And plus now, the Hungry Crab doesn't die to the Noble Sacrifice. So
Right. Might have been expecting Getaway Kodo. I don't think it's that bad just
No.
to hit there, though. He's going to use the Savage Roar
I am.
now?
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad play.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. That's the only play that plays around Spike Ridge Steed.
Oh wow, that's unfortunate. He's one turn away from the Hydra. I mean,
Yeah.
from the Drake. Excuse me. From
So
Primordial.
that is a really heads-up play by Brewski to deny his opponent a minion on the board, because the Spike Ridge Steed
Yeah.
probably would have closed this game out for Lefty. And now he's in a really awkward spot.
Right.
So it turns out that Grimes Cheat Protector might have been right. I think he has to
Oh, it
drop
actually
it
was. Now that you're looking at this board, you can clearly see if he plays that, he is really like. I think if he plays, is the only way Lefty. The only way Brewski comes out of this is if he draws the other Savage Roar.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because
So
now if he plays the Protector, he has to sacrifice at least two of his minions, and possibly take damage depending on what he wants to play. And even if he does have the Hydra to play this turn, he can Aldor, or he can play the Drake, whatever he prefers. It's not bad for him though. That's the thing. Like it's actually pretty favorable. So
yeah, this isn't a horrible spot for Lefty, although it's still pretty awkward. Obviously, when you see that Bitter Tide, you really want to Aldor it, but he won't be able to set up a taunt if he does that. He can, however, just go with Hero Power and Sunkeeper Tarim.
I'm actually
Make that Bitter Tide a 3/3.
Yeah, because then at least this way, he doesn't have. I mean, this is tough in a way because I'm trying to think. There's really no way. There's not really. I'm trying to think. There's no way that he could win if he if he could just clear the Drake, and then go for game. So also work. But I guess no. Tarim is probably better because he's got one. Now all of a sudden he's got one of those Hydras he's dealt with, and he's got Aldor to deal with the other one. So.
Right. I think the only way that the Tarim play loses is to Savage Roar. And you had to read that your opponent didn't have Savage Roar last turn.
Exactly.
So this makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And now Lefty can go Aldor and Spike Ridge Steed.
Absolutely. That's going to be huge. I'm
Yeah,
sure
this is going to be a huge swing.
He can start just hitting it and hitting Brewski for massive amounts of damage.
Yep, and I mean, he's pretty safe at 5 health. The only direct damage through taunt the aggro druid runs is swipe, and even when it's run, it's usually as a one-of. And honestly, judging by all these tech cards that Brewski has, like the Galaka Crawlers and the Hungry Crabs, I would be surprised if he's running swipe at all. He might just not have it in his deck.
It's definitely a card where I feel like I could just never predict when people are running it. It's just...
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Some people play it, some people don't. I think... But even then, it's like, as you can tell, it's not going to give him a win, so... It looks like Lefty's going to end up taking this, which is crazy because of how far behind he started off this game.
Yeah, it really looks like it here. I mean, Living Mana is extremely powerful, but Lefty just has the easy answer in Primordial Drake.
Oh, yeah.
And he can actually...
Direct this turn. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think Primordial Drake for Lefty next turn might even set up lethal. On Brewski's side, he can... Yeah, there's no reason to just trade into this Aldor here. There's nothing he can do.
I mean, he just needs to make sure he hits the Drake, the Hydra first with his with his crew for 3
Yes.
extra damage. And then I guess, I mean, I probably would have gone Drake first just for the extra 3 damage, but it's probably going to be inconsequential. at this
Yeah, I mean, it was always better to Drake first just to get that damage
point. If he
in.
was going to
And-
kill off the Hydra, then he might as well have done that.
Right.
And now, all of a sudden,
But probably doesn't matter.
desperate spot. Yeah.
That Savage Roar,
I
Brewski needed it
see.
several turns ago.
That's just unfortunate. But that was a great playing by Lefty right there. He really made a great comeback. Like that game looked like Brewski just had the perfect setup for Aggro Druid, and then you see Lefty just made some great read after great read, and he did not let himself get intimidated at any point. He just kept trying to make the best plays possible, and it paid off.
Yeah, really impressive. I mean, hero powering overplaying the Hydrologist won him the game. I don't think he would have been able to come back if Brewski had gotten that 3-4 Hungry Crab off. So we head into game 5 now.
And
This
now
is
it's
going to
gonna
be an
be
Aggro Druid mirror.
Yeah, this will be crazy. This can go
Brewski-
so many different ways depending on who draws what. So I'm very curious. But yeah, that original play of just not playing into the Hungry Crab, I can't say I would have have that same kind of foresight in that match.
No, I
So
can't either.
I applaud him. Oh my god, this is
Turn 1 Vicious Fledgling. That's very powerful. There's no answer in Lefty's hand right now. He can get a charging 2/2 patches and set up a pretty good board with Bloodsail Raider, Coin, Mark of the Lotus, but that
Yeah.
Fledgling is going to be able to hit face.
It's an awkward spot, but I feel like, yeah, he has to do it. He could also, if he wants, just not play the... Okay, I was going to say he could just not play the Mark of the Lotus to save up for, like, a Savage War or something if he really gets that desperate. But no, this is solid.
That's true. Yeah, I just like playing for the board here.
Especially the
Your
launch
minions are getting traded into because Brewski is pretty much forced to hit face with this Fledgling.
Okay, well, he's going to get the stealth, but that's at least not as bad as...
It's not Wind Fury.
Yeah, it's not Wind Fury, exactly. So...
It's not Wind Fury. I guess
Oh,
Health
this is awkward.
potentially could have been worse
man.
too.
I feel bad for Lefty right now. This
Yeah.
is just not the type of hand you want in this type of situation.
Double Savage Roar is just generally not a great card in the mirror, at least in the early game, unless you absolutely get a nut draw. So Lefty's just going to have to play the Galaka Crawler for tempo here, and I think he takes the trade with the patches into the 3/2 as well.
I mean, either way, both of those guys are going to have to die this turn since he can't just leave that 3/2 out there. It's really a shame too, especially considering that Brewski does have the Corsair in hand, so he really capitalized on that. But alas, oh no! Oh, there's the Wind Fury.
Oh wow, that is
rough.
huge for Brewski, and he gets stealth again.
Wow.
And even if he didn't get the stealth,
Even
he
if
would have
didn't
been
have
able
the
to protect it with Star Creeper.
It's still just devastating right now.
This is just, it's so difficult for Lefty to come back here. I mean, Savage Roar, it would kill the Tar Creeper off, but it's not accomplishing much.
Yeah,
I think he just has to play his own Fledgling here.
Yeah,
I wonder.
I mean, he can work. The upside to it is that if Brewski wants to keep capitalizing on the Fledgling, he has to leave his minions alone. So he doesn't really have anything to deal with them at the moment, but, well...
Oh, this is an insane amount of damage.
Oh my god. That is like the 3rd time.
That's lethal. Wow.
Yeah, that's like the 3rd time.
I did not see lethal coming.
No, I didn't either, but I was
Sir.
like... This is at least the 2nd time where I've said Lefty was still in this, and then just draws the Savage Roar.
Wow. What a draw for Brewski. He's going to take the game, take the
And
series,
championship.
and win the championship for Hearthstone Academy.
Congratulations to Hearthstone Academy. Wow. Well, you know what? Regardless of whatever you want to say about these teams, they definitely made this interesting finals. That's for sure. A very exciting and very crazy set of games, I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean that's another 3-2. That's 4 games all series that have gone to Game 5. But wow, you just can't say enough about Brewski's consistency throughout 3 seasons, and also Hearthstone Academy's consistency. They didn't start off too great this season, at least not up to their standards as championships, the championship.
No, but
championship.
you know what I like to say, like as somebody who competed in the same conference as them in the same division, and we actually played Hearthstone Academy the very first week of the season. And I'd heard a lot about them, about their players and whatnot. And we had a very exciting match, all of us. It ended up we ended up winning 3-2. But the thing that I noticed about them as I was keeping track of all the scores and the results was that despite the fact that they were in 5th place in our division throughout the entire, not the entire, but most of the season, they were always in a favorable spot where they could easily make a comeback. It was always clear that 1 week could easily shift things around and put them back in a solid spot. And then as we got through the first half, they started having important win upon important win, and they did not let themselves falter. They really they didn't always have an amazing week, but they always kept themselves in contention. They were always they never gave up. They really persevered this season.
Yeah, and I mean that's really important. You don't necessarily have to win every week. You just, when it comes down to it, you just have to get enough points to get into the playoffs, and then in the playoffs, it's anyone's game. Hearthstone Academy, they didn't come in as the #1 overall seed. I don't think that coming in they were anyone's favorite to win the championship, but they showed that they had the grit to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, but what's especially crazy is that we do have to address the fact that this is their 2nd season in a row that they're winning, but they also won starting off with a very similar roster, but having a lot of changes throughout. So that made that.
Yeah, their roster has changed a lot from last season. I mean, even it's even changed from the semis to the finals. I mean,
right,
Yellow Dart is actually not on Hearthstone Academy. He's subbing in for them this week,
in for Arcturus,
and he was able to get the win for them and help them win a championship.
Yeah, it's been I think nobody questioned. Excuse me. I would say nobody questioned Hearthstone Academy being a solid team despite all of the changes throughout. But it's still crazy to think the team that won everything last season, they're still not. They were they had all of these obstacles to overcome throughout. But when you get it done, that's all that really needs to be said. They got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, really.
And now I'll admit I'm kind of bummed out that the next match won't be the deciding match as I was hoping it would be. Get this last match for all the marbles, but it should be an exciting one.
Yeah, I was hoping for that too. Of course, it's always better when things are close. I mean, these players, they may not know that the series is over. I'm not sure if they've been watching the stream or keeping up with their team's group chat. So for all we know, they could be playing thinking that the series is on the line. So I think we should still see some focused play from both of them and some well-built decks.
Right.
So I think we are still waiting for bans now. While we wait, we can go ahead and take a look at these lineups.
Bans are coming in here in just a moment. I've got one side, and I'll get the other very soon.
Awesome. So Cody is on Mage, Paladin, Priest, and Warrior. One of the few people to bring Priest. And Zemus is on Druid, Mage, Paladin, and Warrior.
Definitely interesting lineups from both.
Yeah, I would say really the main interesting thing is Cody bringing the priest. Other than that, pretty standard. I guess it's really hard with most of these classes being so versatile to predict what they're bringing until we see the band. So that will give us a better of an idea, I think.
Right.
While we're waiting on the last band, what were your guys' favorite moments from THL this season?
Oh man, I'd have to think about that for a bit.
I mean, if I had to pick a couple, let's see. Definitely one of my favorites was definitely week 9, where playoffs were just like solidifying the playoff spots was just insane. It was just getting very crazy, and oh man, it was like I was like doing the math in my head how many games I had to win, what had to happen for us to make it. And eventually I ended up playing my match against Hockey Boys, and I was like, okay, it's going to have to come down to me. I got to make sure I get at least 2 games to seal our victory, and it ended up being my first and only 3-0 of the season. So it was pretty exciting to just, even though it turned out had we not won that match, we still would have made it, but just it felt good to like solidify the position like that.
I think that one of my favorite moments was in week 1, where my teammate Darkseed faced off against Appa in the 3 seed and ended up winning that one, I think 3-1. He was a pretty big underdog. I mean, Appa is a guy, he was at DreamHack. I know he's been to multiple DreamHacks. I think he at least used to be signed to a team, but it was really impressive seeing a guy who had played in the 4 seed last season,
Is
and
Appa,
the 3 and the 4 this season.
Is Appa the guy from Coin Concede?
He is, yes.
Then they just
Appa.
They just announced he's signed to the same team as Green Sheep, Gosu Gamers.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they announced it on their podcast this past week, which is really awesome. Anyway, we are ready for the last match of the season. Are you guys ready?
I'm definitely ready.
Great. So we have Cody has banned Zemus's Druid, and Zemus has banned Cody's Paladin.
Ooh.
All right. So with the Druid ban, I think it makes a lot of sense seeing that Cody is bringing Priest. Pretty difficult to put together a Priest deck that beats Druid. Of course, that's actually not correct. Silence Priest is extremely strong against Druid, but most Priest archetypes that are not Silence Priest fare poorly against Shade Druid. So I think that ban is a function of that, and also could mean that Cody is bringing some slower decks.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. It's also just on a side note, every single one of these matches has ended 3-2, so I'm willing to bet this one's going to go into Game 5 as well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'd love to see it.
I definitely want to see that.
So I think they are getting in right now.
Okay, yeah. So Cody is bringing... I can't even tell which priest this is just based on his opening hand. Oh, okay, I guess it's a Dragon Priest.
Okay, so Cody on Dragon Priest, Zemus on, yeah, I would say it is Secret Mage. Interesting that Cody's running Curious Glimmer Root. That is, I think that's a card that's more recently been making its way into Dragon Priest lists. Although most of the lists I've seen are also not running Twilight Drake with the Curious Glimmer Root.
Yeah. I would say so. Oh, this isn't... Zemus has a pretty strong hand when you consider what he's got. My goodness.
Yeah, no spells right now, but the turn 2 Arcanologist is guaranteed to draw a secret, and Kirin Tor is just not only is just it's a strong tempo play on turn 3 with a secret, it's really good as a 4-attack minion against Priest.
Absolutely. Like, a Priest is going to have a hard time dealing with that, especially because he can play it on turn 3 before Cody has a chance to play Twilight Drake. So that'll be very helpful. But yeah, of course, the downside is Cody was smart enough to play the Northshire first, so now he's going to get a card off of that.
Oh, wow. We see a Wild Pyromancer come into Cody's hand. So this is really trending towards control Dragon Priest hybrid. That's interesting.
Yeah. Huh. I'm just gonna draw the Potion of Madness. That could be really helpful here, depending on what he's able to get a hold of.
Yeah, and now Zemus can go for the Kirin Toromir entity.
I feel like I feel like there's just no better play here, as tempting as it might be to play the Arcane Intellect. But he could just go Apprentice into Intellect next turn, and that'll be great. So I wonder what he's gonna do here. Okay, so he's gonna get his own Pyro.
Interesting. This Pyro can do a lot here with this Power Word Shield in hand. Although he's thinking about buffing the Northshire. Okay, so he does just go ahead and clear up the Pyromancer, or buff the Pyromancer here.
Northshire alive. That's really good.
Wow, that Power Word Shield draw was
Crazy.
huge for Cody.
He just cleared the whole board with one wild Pyromancer. I did not see that coming. And the worst part is, Zemus doesn't really have a way of getting rid of it, and if he can't, Cody could just end up either healing it up next turn and drawing a card, or something of that to that effect. I mean, it's. Oof.
Just like you.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
no,
just
wait,
gonna
I
go with
forgot-
the Apprentice
I
and
forgot he
thing.
could ping it. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the only play. The Pyromancer just has to die at that point because if Zemus lets it live, then Cody can just heal it up. This Northshire is going to stick around, though. Cody's going to get 2 draws here. I'm actually wondering if this is the right line, because Cody's already is so far ahead in terms of card advantage. He doesn't even need those extra cards that much.
Yeah, part of the problem here is that if he doesn't advance his board quickly, he could allow Zemus to build up more card advantage with his own minions, and it could get out of hand very quickly if he's not careful.
Yeah, and even just Cody not ending the game quickly enough could be bad for him. Even though Secret Mage can run out of steam, sometimes they run cards like Yogg or Medivh, which can just provide overwhelming value.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just he just needs to really get some minions to stick.
Right. So because Cody didn't opt to go for the Curious Glimmerroot last turn and instead healed, the Sorcerer's Apprentice is gonna stick on the board, which is pretty scary. Getting Frostbolt from the Glimmerroot, though, that's an excellent pickup. Wait, that's a Potion of Polymorph Zemus is running in his deck.
Oh,
That's interesting.
Huh.
That's a card that has seen some play, mostly as a replacement for Mirror Entity, but I was never a big fan of it, and I'm not sure why he's running both Mirror Entity and Potion. I guess he's just running one of each, trying to get the best of both worlds.
Probably. So it's definitely an unconventional choice. So I'm wondering what does he plan to do with it, but
I mean, it does proc the Medivh's Valet if Zemus were to go that route. However, there's no way that he can actually fully clear the board without having to trade his Sorcerer's Apprentice in, or it just dying to the 1/3 Netherspite Historian.
Time runs out on me.
I think there was a lot of merit to the Firelands portal, but looks like Zemus is just going to draw instead. And he'll Potion of Polymorph and just Valet down this Curious Glimmerroot. And he's going to hit face, forcing Cody to take the trade, but Cody can now just Potion of Madness if he wants to, and keep his Netherspite alive.
yeah, I'm very surprised that Zemus didn't decide to just trade in the Apprentice.
Actually, Cody... I think Cody could have played Shadow Visions first, because I actually think, in case the spell was the secret was counterspell, I think he actually values Potion of Madness more highly than Shadow Visions, just at that particular stage of the game. And instead,
agree with you there.
I don't understand the heal rather than just playing a minion onto the board. Yes, Mirror Entity is sort of scary, but I really like advancing your board somewhat.
Oh, there's an ice block off the Babbling Book. My goodness. That could be huge down the road.
That's a really good pickup, and
We
it's
have
another
many
secret, which means it can be paired with the Kirin Mage here.
Yeah. And I think to answer your question, I think he just didn't play a minion because I think his thought process was he's worried that's Mirror Entity, and he doesn't want to play something into that wouldn't give him, that he wouldn't have an immediate like answer to. I have to assume like he didn't play the Gluttonous Ooze, which would have been a great, a great minion to throw in there because he wants to save it for, I guess, maybe he thinks he's playing Medivh or something. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I probably would just throw it down. And just,
I think he could have just played it for tempo too. I'm sure that was Cody's thought process, even though Medivh isn't that popular in Secret Mage. Cody is just in such a strong position here that really the only way he loses is like some crazy Medivh coming down or maybe a Yogg. So he's just holding that just in case. Cody doesn't really need to advance his board that much, just because of how far ahead he is. I mean, he's at 26 health and his opponent is running low on cards, and he even has a lot of heal in his hand right now, especially with that greater healing potion now.
Yeah, it's just so perplexing. Like, I get what he's afraid of, but it's like there's ways he could easily deal with these cards and like the cards he's fearing, and yet he's I appreciate conservative play, but this is not the way to go here.
Yeah, I mean, that is one way to play around Potion of Polymorph, is just never play minions into it. It's not the line that I would take, but
no, I mean, I think here's the thing: if he didn't have Gluttonous Ooze in hand, I would totally understand his line of playing if he's kind of waiting for something else. But I think the problem is you eventually have to realize, one, you've got a great target, and you should know by now that something like Gluttonous Ooze is not gonna like, make a huge difference. And two, more importantly, you're really setting yourself back by not playing something else, by not, building up a board presence.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that Cody should be playing for tempo a little bit more. Over on Zemus's side, I think maybe he just takes a Spellbender just because it's the most value. Forbidden Flame could potentially take out a big minion. That Twilight Drake from Cody is getting pretty large, and he also has the Deathwing Dragon Lord in hand. Zemus will offer the Flame Geyser instead. It's the only one that can deal face damage, so I guess that's what he's valuing here, but he's so far away from killing his opponent with direct damage, and the Priest can heal for 2 every turn.
See, I feel like he's just playing it all wrong, just solely based on the matchup. I mean, you're playing against Priest. They can heal up every turn, and they've got a number of ways to give him even more healing, such as Priest of the Feast. So the last thing you want to be doing is relying on just burning them out in order to win.
Yep, definitely.
I don't want to judge Cody or Zemus on this, but it's like I'm trying to understand. I'm having trouble just understanding the mindset here.
Yeah, I am too, to be honest. So Zemus here, he's definitely in a tough position. I really think that the only way he wins right now is Yogg. So his game plan right now is just going to be survive for as long as possible to maximize the chances of drawing Yogg. And if you don't have Yogg in your deck, well, I don't think he has lines.
Yeah. Now that being said, Zemus will probably be in a much worse spot here if Cody had been playing more aggressively.
Yeah, I agree with that. Zemus would have had probably several less draws to draw into Yogg. Cody finally is going to develop a big minion here in the Twilight Drake.
Here, as you can see, he doesn't play the second Twilight Drake, which would have been perfect here. Like, he had the mana, but he valued healing for some reason. I don't really understand it. Yeah.
But I mean, it is sort of hard to rag on Cody's play when he's in such an almost unlosable position.
True.
Although I do disagree with it. So Zemus, he will have to use 2 of his burn spells if he wants to kill this Twilight Drake here. I think he has to. I guess he can just let himself take 4, but Cody is most likely going to keep building up his board, and then that's just an extra 4 damage that you've taken by not removing it this turn.
Probably, yeah. But like now, I feel like now he's just getting a point where, like just to give some perspective, it's like you gotta understand the matchups in the deck that the decks that are being played here, what's on the board, and think about what is going to be the ideal way to handle the situation. Because I can understand if Cody's concerned about, oh, I don't want to overcommit, but then you look at, not only do I not have to worry about something like, Potion of Polymorph again, or Mirror Entity, but I also don't have to worry about some kind of massive board wipe, like if I was playing Warlock and they could be playing Twisting Nether. So,
wait, that's a second Gluttonous Ooze in Cody's deck?
Oh my god, yeah.
What? So, I guess he really did not want to lose to Pirate Warrior.
Huh. Wait, I thought he banned
That's
Paladin.
surprising. No, Cody banned Druid.
Oh, no, he banned Druid. Sorry. Okay, that makes a lot more sense
Yeah.
now.
There's the Yogg. We know that it's in his deck, so Zemus definitely has lines to win now.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a situation like we were talking about. I think Cody could have gotten very close to popping Zemus's block if he had not played so conservatively early.
Yeah.
Is Freezing Potion the only option here? Just to Freezing Potion the Deathwing Dragonlord and then hope that you top deck Yogg?
Otherwise, I mean, it is. It sort of depends on whether Zemus wants to freeze it and just stall out a bit, or grab the fireball so that he can find some kind of way to burst him down at the end. But neither option.
This is game 1, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this game is taking a while.
Yeah, they're both playing really conservatively. Okay.
So
he's gonna
double fireball,
but now he's gonna find out that was a mistake.
I mean, Zemus had to know that Cody had a lot of dragons in hand, right?
That's insane.
So now Cody can easily pop.
Yes, very much so. Even without Deathwing. And the worst
Nice,
part,
he pops
the worst
at 1.
part is Zemus can get him down to 1.
I guess you play the operative here, maybe.
I'd say play the operative. What else could you really play?
Well, you're definitely not playing Yogg here.
Oh my god.
Wait, what if he fatigues himself?
Oh,
No, I don't think he's played enough
I can't
spells.
believe this is happening right now.
Poor spell Yogg. That was amazing.
I have to hope. I would laugh so hard if he played that not knowing that the match was over. Like,
Yeah.
Hearthstone Academy already won. Because if
Yeah,
he
I
did,
mean,
I
I
would
think-
have mad respect right now.
I think you have to assume that Cody knows the result
I have
by
to
now.
assume. But oh god, do I want to believe he didn't know.
Yeah,
Also, can we also appreciate the fact that he actually managed to hit Yogg when there was like a 1 in 8 chance?
Yes.
That's
Yogg is a sniper, mostly on himself.
Cody's taking game 1.
Yeah. After that win, Cody can now pivot to either his mage or his warrior. Judging by the fact that he's running 2 gluttonous oozes in his dragon priest, that makes me think that he could be running similarly some sort of anti-aggro mage or warrior, maybe a freeze mage and a taunt warrior.
Probably. I mean, they're both bringing warrior and paladin, so he's definitely it's obviously weapon hate. It makes sense. And maybe also broader thinking, if Zemus's other deck is Mage, maybe he's playing. He thought, oh, maybe he's playing Medivh in there, so that'd be another good use for Ooze. But obviously, he's not playing Medivh, so that's not going to be the case. But still, could end up being a crucial card in the matchups. Aside from the fact that now he won't be using that deck again. I'm wondering now if he has Ooze in the other decks he's playing. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, moving on to game 2. Mage versus Warrior.
So, Zemus is on Pirate Warrior, and he is running the Bitter Tides. This is a card that we've seen a lot in this overall series in Pirate Warrior, and that was pretty much just made popular by Xerez, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who took a Pirate Warrior with 2 Bitter Tide Hydras in it to rank 1 Legend, I believe on EU.
Oh, I don't know if I've heard of this player, but that's really impressive.
Yeah, he's not. I would say he's not one of the more well-known pros, but he is. He consistently gets top 100, top 200 in Legend, so he's a very strong player.
I tend to keep up with some of the biggest streamers, but like in terms of like all the pros, there's a lot out there, so it's hard to keep track of all of them.
Yeah, for sure. So Cody looks to be on a pretty standard Burn Mage. This is not a horrible hand to have against Pirate Warrior. Frostbolt is one of the best cards in Cody's deck against Pirate Warrior. It's just great early game removal and is also very flexible in the late game in denying damage from weapons.
Yeah, I would say right now, Zemus has a really strong open. Fiery War Axe, followed by Raider into Corsair next turn. But at the same time, as you're looking at Cody's hand, you could easily tell he's going to have ways of dealing with whatever Zemus throws down. So this could really go either way right now.
Yeah, definitely. Cards like Polymorph and Pyroblast don't really help Cody, though. Those are probably never going to get played this game, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
And now this is sort of awkward. I mean, Cody's just forced to Frostbolt this 5/3, but he's going to have to leave 4 damage on the board. Unless he wants to use his coin and use this second Frostbolt to take out the Dread Corsair, that makes his turn 4 really awkward if he ends up using the coin.
Yeah, I mean, I would only do that if he's really sure that Zemus has the captain in hand, which obviously right now he doesn't. So.
Right. I mean, taking 4 doesn't feel great, though. And Zemus top decking the Corcoran, that is excellent follow-up. He's going to be able to push a lot of damage this turn.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of pressure right now. And Cody drawing the ice block might potentially be helpful, but against this matchup, if he can get him low enough to break it, when he breaks it, then it could end up being just very inconsequential. We'll have to see.
Yeah, one of the ways that Burn Mage can win this matchup is by having Ice block up, and then when they get popped, their opponent being so out of resources that a defensive Alexstrasza that heals them back up to 15 can be game-winning. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be difficult for Cody to get to that point, though.
Yeah, it's going to be hard enough for him to make it to turn 7, let alone turn 9. And that's even if he draws the Alexstrasza in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody can Frostbolt ping and clear off most of the damage here. He picks up a Glyph, but yeah, I mean, he still has to go with a Frostbolt play. And Zemus is 1 damage off lethal right now. That's going to do it.
Oh, wow, that's game. I was literally about to say Cody's just lucky Zemus doesn't have him in hand, and of course he draws game.
Well,
literally, I should just only talk, like make comments like that when I want things to change, because that's never going to be the case.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a curse, so to that I say, Lefty, you can absolutely blame me for your loss. I would totally understand.
So that's going to even up the series.
To people such as yourself, don't hate me too much.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be another close series. So now Zemus did get the win on his Pirate Warrior. Does he switch to his Secret Mage here now that he knows that Cody is on Burn Mage?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, if he knows now that Cody's playing Burn Mage, Secret Mage definitely wouldn't be bad. You know, a more aggressive deck versus a more control deck could, really slow deck such as Burn Mage. That would probably be a solid matchup for him, I'd imagine. So, I guess the question is does he assume Cody's going to stay on Burn Mage, or is he going to move on to his third deck? So.
Right. Looks like they are queuing up now, though.
Yes, they are.
And now we can see that Zemus has actually gone to his Paladin. While Cody is running Pirate Warrior. It's all of the warriors tonight have been Pirate. No Quest Warriors.
As a Taunt Warrior player, that disappoints me.
Taunt Warrior has really fallen out of favor in the tournament scene, and even on ladder.
I mean, I've always been a fan of Control Warrior decks. The original Control Warrior back in open beta was like one of my favorite decks to play, despite how expensive it was. Like, words cannot describe how happy I was when I had all the legendaries I needed.
Yeah, they don't call it Wallet Warrior for nothing.
And I feel like I don't know if I could safely say I've found a warrior deck that I like as much as I liked that one. So, like, Taunt Warrior definitely came close. Like, being able to Sulfuros and all was pretty fun.
Yeah. So Zemus looks like he is on mid-range Paladin.
Yep,
we did see a Vine Cleaver in his deck, which makes me think that he's running Hoge's mid-range Paladin, which also runs Deathwing. But that deck does not run Harrison, or at least I don't think it does.
I don't think so either, but I can't say I have that list memorized offhand. But I know who you're talking about, so...
Yeah. Of course, this could be based on that deck and just have a couple of tech cards like Harrison thrown in.
Yeah.
Very strong start for the Pirate Warrior, though.
Yeah, especially considering he's got the captain in hand. He's going to be able to have a very strong turn 3 coming up.
Out of my jungle.
I mean, I feel bad for Zemus because he's quickly going to find out that that Stonehill Defender play is not going to be as good for him as he thinks it is.
Yeah, I mean, this Stonehill, it theoretically clears most of these minions off the board, but with a hand this heavy, it feels so bad to use your coin. I think he was better off just playing the 3/4 Rockwool Hunter, and he's going to get punished pretty hard by this captain.
Oh, yeah.
Pirate's code.
And now he's just going to take 4 to the face, and Cody's not going to lose anything. He's pretty huge.
Yep. I would be surprised. Wow. I was actually about to say I would be surprised if Zemus is running Consecration in this deck, but he is. Unfortunately, he used his coin last turn, so he won't be able to get it down now.
Oh, wow. I just noticed also Firefly.
That's a card that sees some fringe play in Pirate Warrior. Aggro decks are just so dependent on getting 1-drops. Then Firefly is just one of the best 1-drops, or neutral 1-drops at least, in the game right now.
I mean,
so I can understand.
It does seem like if you're really worried about having a slow opening, I get it. Just with all the great cards that Pirate Warrior can play, I'm just a little perplexed. But oh well. Zemus is in concentration mode, so that'll at least buy him some time. But as you can tell from Cody's hand, not much time.
Yeah, the South Sea Captain still sticks on the board, and Cody has excellent follow-up with this Corcoran. He is going to set up lethal even before it cleared.
Because I'm pretty sure this is just game.
Yeah, I don't think, even if Zemus had a different hand, I don't think there's any cards in his deck that could save him at this point, really.
No, not really. I mean, Zemus' best bet is to get double sacrifice to protect him, but even then, Cody can just do the Mortal Strike or Fire Contracts to trigger it, so yeah. Cody's going to take game 3 very quickly and very definitively. That was
Okay, I mean,
when it's kind of painful to watch Pyro just kind of derp over everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good deck. There's a reason why almost every player, I think except Brewski, brought Pirate Warrior.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but he didn't bring Warrior at all. That's the difference.
Yeah, right.
If he
So now-
if he brought in Taunt Warrior, I would have been like, Brewski, I love you forever. Thank you for giving me hope for humanity. Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, Taunt Warrior definitely has more decision trees. So now Cody only needs to win with his Burn Mage.
Yeah.
I would say that he's probably unfavored against both the Secret Mage and the mid-range Paladin, though.
The mid range it'll definitely be unfavored if Zemus is able to draw a strong opening. If not, and he doesn't really have many early plays, or if he doesn't have any like really solid early Murloc plays, then that could really work against him. So we'll have to see. If I were him, I'd probably go with Secret Mage first, just because that probably has the better matchup, regardless. But I don't know, maybe he's got various Paladin cards that are tech for Mage. All right, so he's gonna go Paladin.
I will fight with honor.
I guess we'll see
Yeah.
what he starts off with. Let's
so-
get him some better cards.
Cody does have the Arcanologist start, and he ends up keeping Volcanic Potion too. I don't really hate it. You already know your opponent is mid-range Paladin. It clears Tide Caller, Hydrologist. Yeah, Zemus.
Zemus coin out for the Hydrologist, you think?
He actually has, just with what's in his hand now, a perfect. Well, I don't know if you can say it's perfect, because the coin 2 into the 2, into the 3, into the 4, into the 5. And these are some of the best cards that you could be playing in their mana slots too.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad hand, that's for sure. You can do a lot with what he's got, and that's despite the fact that Cody has double Ice Block and Ice Barrier in his hand. Although you could also look at that as it's not very helpful to him right now, since it's not really going to do. I mean, like right now, I suspect he's going to ping off the Hydrologist in case he has, in case he's got the War Leader in hand, which naturally he does.
Yeah, he probably has to ping here over developing a secret. It's just so much pressure even after only 2 turns. But this War Leader can now just come down for Zemus. I guess he could be scared of Frostbolt, but I think it's still right to play it here just to pressure. Even if Cody does have the answer, you still put your opponent on the back foot.
I would agree. Plus, I think the way to look at it is most likely next turn, if he doesn't play the Megazord, he's going to play the Stonehill Defender plus Getaway Kodo, and at that point, he's got some great targets for that Getaway Kodo, no matter what's hit. So
Definitely.
I don't think Zemus has anything to be worried about here.
Yeah, Cody, the Mana Worm helps fill out his curve, but a 2/3 doesn't even do that much against this board. I think that he might want to opt. Oh, he's pinging instead of developing a secret. I don't think I agree with that.
No, definitely not. The problem is if he doesn't the problem is it's still going to be able to trade with the Mana Worm without any real sacrifice, and if he basically he would have had played a secret, but he would have advanced. He would have had more of a gain more advantage from that. So, and it would have been a better use of his mana. So,
right.
Yeah, he's punish for that, unfortunately.
Wow, these are some really interesting discoveries. This might be one of the few cases where there's merit to can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Except, okay, wait, but if you're taking that, I think Zemus would have wanted to trade the War Leader in, so then it can't get pinged.
Yeah, that's actually true. I guess he kind of forgot about that part.
Yeah, that's the line I saw. This is also not that bad because it's still not a good Volcanic Potion for Cody.
Right. Interesting. I mean,
Yeah, so now Zemus, he will be able to push 7 to the face no matter what. I don't really hate just the Thinja coming out here.
Let me think.
He could. What I'm thinking he should do is play the Defender, Tide Caller into Getaway Kodo, because that most likely he's going to get rid of the Megazord, and he could just replay that thanks to Getaway Coda.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I would say Finja is just generally better to get out sooner than later, because it's a pretty slow card. But Burn Mage often doesn't put that many minions down on the board that Finja can trade into. So Cody could have just developed 2 secrets on his turn 6 and then Flame Strike the next turn. So I think the Tidecaller Getaway Coda line is fine. Or Zemus might just Getaway Coda and not play the Tidecaller because he really doesn't want that Tidecaller to get back into his hand.
I mean, that's fair. The only reason I would have played the Tidecaller is just because of Megazord, but here he is going to get the...
Wow, that Eater of Secrets!
That is actually pretty important here.
Yeah, that's a lot better than... that's one of the best Eater of Secrets that you can get, really, aside from, like, Eye for an Eye, very late into the game.
What are you thinking here? Because he's got more than a couple options.
I like the Spike Ridge here.
Yeah.
It's on curve. He can just Spike Ridge the Stonehill. Can't Spike Ridge the Rock Pool, unfortunately. And take the trade into the Eater. If he really wanted to, he could go face. We know that Cody is running a Polymorph in his deck, though.
Yeah, but one, he may not be assuming that he may not assume that he has it, and two, it's one of the only outs he would actually have to that play. So, just plus at the very least, he's getting rid of that Eater of Secrets. Or no, he's going face. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure he was going to go face there.
Right. We know that Cody's running it, but I don't think the Zemus ever saw that, and it's still unlikely, and only a 1-of in his deck.
Right. Well, plus,
so
I'm sure he's also thinking, I've got this guy now at 11, and he has a taunt that he'd have to throw the Eater of Secrets into it. So it's not like I need to get rid of the Eater of Secrets at this point.
Yeah, this Rock Pool cannot be pinged off. So Cody still doesn't have an efficient way to deal with it. And Zemus, going face makes a lot of sense when you have Vine Cleaver in hand.
That is actually the second time this match, that somebody has gotten a Captain Greenskin off of a Firelands portal.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And this time it was from the other player.
So Zemus now, if he wants to Vine Cleaver here, he could just put his opponent to 2 health if he just goes all face here.
I don't see why
it's very tempting.
Because at this point, I think because I can't see an outcome next turn where Cody doesn't play the Ice Block. So at this point, his best bet is just get him as low as he can and put some pressure on him.
Yeah, it's really forcing Cody to have that Ice Block and probably have a defensive Alexstrasza as a follow-up just to stay in the game. We can see that Cody has it, but honestly, even with that, it might not be enough because Zemus has excellent follow-up with the Tyrion next turn and with powerful cards like Finja and Grime Street Protector in hand. So I like going face here.
Yeah, although I would say go Vine Cleaver for face. Putting him to 2, there's really no doubt.
Yeah, he does it.
It just makes way too much sense.
The downside is that this play is that it doesn't play for the board that much, but aside from like trading the Vine Cleaver in, there's not that much that he can do. He's always going to be weak to some sort of board clear. But your opponent has to set up Ice Barrier or Ice Block along with their board clear just to survive.
Right, and because of all the mana that Cody's forced to use in order to get up those secrets, Zemus is going to
Excuse me, you are
definitely
on
more
fire.
presence where he should be able to break. He might actually be able to break the block next turn. In addition to the barrier, even with the barrier, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, this barrier is going to be really important for Cody. He's able to clear a lot of the damage off the board, but he still has 8 coming in. So once again, he is 2 damage away from being popped. Although the Gentle Megazord coming into Zemus's hand could potentially change that.
Yeah.
Let me think.
Unfortunately, well, let's see. He'd have to get +3
I-
attack. Actually, that's really.
I think attack is the only one though, so it's not incredibly likely.
Actually, no. It would no.
Or Wind Fury.
Would also give it. Wind Fury would also break it.
That's true. So Zemus he attacks first, which makes sense. So he now knows that it's barrier. If he wanted to, he could play some Murlocs and set up a nice Megasaur. But he also has 8 mana and can play Tyrion. Seems pretty tempting.
Yeah. I like this play because he can now just play Tyrion. Even if Cody decides to go Alex Strauza next turn, it doesn't put him in a good spot.
Yeah, and this is just something that mid-range Paladin is really good at doing. It can just outvalue control decks. Cody is running low on cards.
Yeah, Paladin is a deck that's always been good at maintaining advantage, so I'm not surprised that it's been able to really keep a steady progression here throughout the match.
And Cody here, he has 9 mana, he has Alex Strauza in hand and an Ice Block Cup, but he doesn't have the damage to kill
What to do?
Zemus
What to do?
after the offensive Alex. If he
But
had more burn in hand,
realistically, he does have to. I think realistically, he knows he's got Alex Strauza because that's going to be the only way he has any chance of beating him. I think even if he tries to like rely on board clear or something off of
What
the
to
Atiesh
do?
after playing
What
Mage,
to do?
Medivh, excuse me,
I
he's
bring life.
he knows that realistically there's just he's most likely going to win if he draws into some kind of additional burn power. And even
yeah,
then,
I agree. I mean, I think that this is
it's a
Cody's
very
only
awkward
line
spot,
to win.
though, obviously.
Yeah, it's really unlikely, but it is possible because he does have the second Ice Block in hand. But he would have to top that consecutive
me
burn spells or at least something good off of Glyph.
Yes, he would.
Or draw into those cards, and Arcane Intellect isn't the worst draw in the world ever. But yeah, Cody definitely has to get some specific cards to win from this position.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be basically. I would have to think Fireball, Pyroblast, something like that.
Yeah, I would think so. I guess he could also. I mean, like he could draw
Like one of them has to be Pyroblast. I think that goes without saying.
Pyroblast or double Fireball. I think, yeah, Pyroblast, double Fireball, or potentially Primordial Glyph. But he has to draw some combination of that.
Considering he's got 17 cards left in his deck, I don't count on
Reporting
that
for duty.
happening. Let's see.
Yeah,
Okay, so
this
Arcanologist.
is really risky. Actually, now, there's a chance Cody doesn't quite have it, but this Alex Strauza could have connected to face.
Mhm.
If Cody had a Fireball, and he would have eked in 2 more damage, which then would have meant that just another Frostbolt or Medivh's Valet could potentially have sealed it.
Job's done.
Now I don't see
Now
how
he's
he
just
can
gonna,
win.
Cody's just gonna try to buy himself one more card. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, he has to Ice Block, otherwise he immediately dies, but he knows he gets popped and gives his opponent the initiative. I don't know if it's possible here. I guess consecutive draws off of Glyph? I don't even know what combination he could get, though.
No, well, I don't think there's a combination. I don't think there's. I think he'd have to. It would have to Glyph and the Ice Block just because the obvious problem is that look at what he's going to do right now. Because even if he gets something like Ice Barrier off, Zemus is gonna have more than enough damage in order to finish him off next turn. So I don't think there's any other way. Divine Shield is going to make that more difficult to deal with.
I mean, I guess a board freeze in combination with the Frostbolt to face could let him live one more turn.
Right.
That's not going to do it, though, even if he gets a taunt off of Fireland's Portal.
All right, Cody is going to see, basically. And as we...
Wow, another game 5.
Game 5. Once again. I mean, this match has definitely been exciting, that's for sure.
This is insane. I can't remember the last time this has ever happened in a final series, much less just in the regular season. It's pretty unlikely to see all the games go to go to the full 5.
I mean, this is my first season, so I obviously can't. Definitely been an exciting finals to watch unfold. I mean, I'm just kind of shocked that, no disrespect meant to Hearthstone Academy, but I'm still shocked that they managed to make it into the finals over Team Golden Wisp. So I'm like this has just been exciting just because of how much it has not met my predictions in terms of what would happen. It's been very very surprising and very kind of all over the place, but in a good way.
Yeah, no, Team Golden Wisp was definitely the favorites to win the championship for a lot of people. They had a very strong team. So it's a Mage Mirror.
Yes.
Cody is on Burn Mage, though, and Zemus is on Secret, so I would give the edge to Zemus here.
Absolutely. I definitely would say Zemus has the edge just because we're talking a pretty aggressive mage deck versus a mage deck that can have a solid board presence but can also be really slow, and that build up that is required could be what Zemus needs to take this series.
Yeah, this is a good start for Cody, though. Getting the Coin Archaeologist out on turn 1. And Glyph isn't horrible follow-up either. Meanwhile, Zemus, he doesn't have an Archaeologist of his own. He can play him in Media's Valet for tempo if he wants, or just Frostbolt to clear this Archaeologist off. I think I would probably lean towards the Frostbolt just because of how important it is to get value out of your Media's Valet.
I would agree. I think at this point he just, early removal and just any way I can slow down my opponent, especially when he knows that since he's playing Burn Mage, he's not going to have a lot of cards like that for early advantage. So stopping that could really screw him up.
So interesting, Cody, he had the mana to Primordial Glyph, but he chooses to not play it. Although now if he wants to, he could proc the counterspell with it, but he chooses to Courier instead.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is actually difficult. I was going to say I'm leaning towards the Curious Glimmer route, though.
Yeah, no, I was too. I think if this was a different matchup, I would have said the Potion. But, considering this is Secret Mage, not really going to get much value with that.
Yeah, so the counterspell stays up, and Zemus can just go double Valet here. It's going to be really hard for Cody to deal with these. I think they're going to be able to get a lot of chip damage in.
This is
because the first spell he plays just gets countered.
Well, that being said, yeah, I guess he really just needs to go with the Glimmer just to hope he can slow him down a bit. Okay, well, this is at least an easy choice. And considering that Archaeologist is going to get him another secret, that's pretty great. So that was, I think,
really nice to pick the Archaeologist up there.
I mean, I think at this point it's not too bad, especially considering next turn, Cody can, if he wants to, he could play the Glyph. He could choose whatever spell he wants to get rid of that counter spell, and then we'll have a follow-up play. So, not that bad in retrospect. But that Antonidas could be dangerous down the line if Zemus is able to combo off with it.
Antonidas, really not a card you see too often in Secret Mage, but you remember in Game 1 we also saw the Burgly Bully from Zemus's deck. I think, I want to say I've seen a list very similar to that, running Burgly Bully and Tony as top end, along with Yogg.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen... I've basically seen Secret Mage decks that are playing some combination of either Antonidas and Burgle Bully, double Arcane Giant, Yogg. So there are there have been some interesting tech choices for it.
Cody ends up going face with the Curious Glimmer route rather than trading. I'm sort of confused by that. He's not really in a position where he needs the face damage. Rather, I would say that Zemus is the aggressor here, and Zemus might choose to go face if he can.
I'm late.
And Zemus chooses to go just that. He'll set up the counter spell along with the Cabal Crystal Runner and just push 4 more damage.
Now this is interesting here because I'm wondering, does he think that's another counter spell? Does he think that's a mirror entity? What does he want? Does he want to try to
get off the Volcanic Potion and see if that's going to be helpful. Does he want to try to play a different spell first? Yeah, that's going to be a good play. Yeah, Frostbolt's the way to go there. Because now we can play the Volcanic Potion and clear the board. Or most of the board.
Yep, heads up play from Cody there. Volcanic Potion will do a lot. It will just leave a 2-1 unless Cody decides to go face, which he does. And see, this ooze just dies to ping.
Yeah, that's the part I don't get about, especially when you could just ping the other, valet next turn. So I'm really trying to understand the reasoning behind that.
I mean, face damage is pretty important in these mage mirrors, which I think Cody realizes, but it's not that important to the point where you don't take trades when you are behind on the board.
No, and honestly, I don't even agree with that Flame Strike play just because he could have gone Ice Barrier into Valet into Ping, and he would have just had a 2-1 Valet on the opposing side left. So it just really didn't seem like he needed to use Flame Strike there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always get that much more value, but he definitely could have opted for that instead. Now that Cody is at 15, Zemus may not even need minion damage to end the game, so Ice Barrier might not do anything. Although he doesn't have anything to pair with it now, Zemus has Archmage Antonidas in hand. That's a card that can just end the game on its own with burn damage.
Yeah, but he's not going to play now if he can't get a spell off it, so he's just going to go Firelance Portal instead, and he's going to get a solid 6-5 off it. But the downside is that now, of course, Cody's going to be able to Firelance Portal it.
Trading Firelance Portals and 6-5s.
Because that just makes too much sense.
So Zemus, this isn't really the hand that he wants at this stage of the game. It's very minion heavy. That Burglary Bully pickup is actually one of the worst cards that he can play into a 6-5.
Yeah, it's like if he had a clear board right now, Burgle Bully would actually be amazing right here.
So it looks like Zemus is going to Kirin-Tor and play out this Mirror Entity. I think there's merit just to saving it to pair with Archmage Antonidas next turn.
I mean, I guess, but I think part of the problem is that maybe it's just because he also has the other Arcanine in hand. He knows he can probably afford to wait a turn to combo it off.
That's true. I feel like Mirror Entity just like hardly ever gets value in this matchup. Oh, and Cody missequences this by playing the Ice Block.
Yeah.
It's gonna give his opponent a coin. That is disastrous when your opponent has Ochitoni in hand.
That he does not realize just yet how disastrous that actually is going to be, since now Zemus is going to be able to go Archmage into coin, and he'll have enough to play a Fireball. That is going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's huge. Cody has built up a pretty substantial board, though. I think Zemus might be forced to trade the Arcanologist into the 6-1 before he goes Archmage, coin, Fireball phase.
He probably will just trade it in unless he really just wants to win. But I mean, I think the problem is he knows he's playing Burn Mage, so he knows that secret isn't anything he really has to worry about. So I don't think he's going to find a better opportunity to just play the Antonidas and get some very strong value off of it.
Yep, yeah, I think so. He knows it's not Mirror Entity or Motion of Polymorph.
Oh, he's going to hold off. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Oh, I see what he's doing. I mean...
So, he doesn't get a Fireball here. This sets up over 2 turns to pop Cody at 1, though.
Yeah, which is interesting. Oh.
That Eater of Secrets.
Even if he's playing Secret Mage, you see he's got a secret. He's got the potion in hand. That could be huge.
Yeah, definitely not as strong as hitting a card like Ice Block, but still can provide some decent value.
No, but what's especially great here is the fact that because he's playing Secret Mage, he knows he's just going to play that Eater as soon as possible, so we don't have to worry about accidentally triggering into something else, making the incorrect assumption that it's a different secret, like that it's something like Ice Block or Ice Barrier.
Yep. Okay, Cody took that polymorph extremely quickly, where he could have taken a second ice block. But the alternative would have been trading everything
Well, I think
into. Wait, no, he had a fireball in hand.
I think he probably just. I'm assuming his reasoning is that he's got the pyroblast, he's got the fireball, he's got a fair bit of damage, so he can. I'm assuming he thinks he can probably manage as is, but yeah, the problem there is that he's obviously going to still get that block broken this turn.
I mean, yes, that's true, but Pyroblast and Fireball is a combo over the next 2 turns, and you know that your opponent has the Fireball and the ping. In fact, like, Cody knows what Zemus has. He knows that he was going to get popped that turn.
Very much so. So now, this is going to actually work out very nicely for Cody. He got the damage. He can definitely finish him off. However, that's also assuming that Zemus doesn't have some kind of way of clearing the board, and he could potentially with Yogg. He might just be in that desperate enough of a position where he'll have to do it.
Yeah, I would say he probably is.
I mean, I don't see this going another way.
I wonder.
Like, he's obviously going to pop the block first, but
I mean, he could not pop it and hope that he gets flare off Yogg.
that's another thing.
Just something to think about. Not sure if that's the right play or not.
No,
but,
I know. I mean,
actually, wait. I mean,
I wonder.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
the problem is that's one card out of all the different. As much as I would love to see that happen, where he decided to take that risk and it paid off. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
So now Zemus has to play Yogg and hope that.
Does he even? Is it even right to trade first?
Well,
Not sure.
Oh. Sure. Oh, is he gonna give it to him? No.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
Lightning Storm is good.
Lightning Storm?
It's gonna have to clear this board completely, otherwise Pyroblast will end the game.
Exactly. He's got a taunt in.
Oh, that's a taunt!
Oh,
That's gonna save
wow.
Zemus! Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's huge.
Yogg might have won in the
Yogg
game.
might have just won the game for Zemus. That's incredible. Oh my god. Wow.
Get in line.
Well,
That was
Yogg is
crazy.
gonna win a game. Why not? That was incredible.
Wow, so the series
Yogg
was
literally
decided
won
before
for
that.
Zemus in probably the most unlikely way we could have assumed it would have given.
That is not what I saw coming.
No, I think it was
At all.
way more
Public
likely that he was
defender,
either
man.
going to clear Cody's board or heal him up to where Pyroblast combined with whatever he had in hand would have not been enough to take him out. So yeah, oh my goodness. So once again, game 5 it goes to, and once again, Hearthstone Academy takes the victory.
Yeah, so not as good as their 20-point victory in last season's, but they did earn 18 points over this final series. Very impressive. Taking it 18 to 12.
Yeah, but Mike and the boys, they deserve a lot of praise, a lot of credit. They really kept it going till the end. They really gave it their all.
Yeah, I mean, coming in as a in their first season and making it all the way to the finals is something to be proud of for sure. And just, I mean, we've said it throughout the entire night, but just all of these matches going to Game 5, I mean, that just, I think it really shows how closely matched these teams were.
It does, and it also just shows how, not just how close they were, but just how much, like, everyone was really fighting till the bitter end. Like, nobody was, like, no matter how bleak it might have seemed, everybody was just really giving it their all to try to win these matches. And, you know, we saw some awesome plays. We saw some hilarious RNG. it seems like all the bases were covered tonight. So
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Very
It was a
excited
great series.
to watch this unfold. So, I mean, crazy to think the season is over, but of course, season 7, not too far away.
Yeah. I would like to thank Hearthstone Academy and Dirty Mike and the boys for agreeing to be streamed. We got all of these matches on stream thanks to some last-minute reschedules, actually, because before tonight, we had 2 matches, both scheduled for 8 p.m. EST, so we only would have been able to stream one of them on the THL Twitch channel, but luckily it worked out. We were able to get all 3 back-to-back-to-back. So shout out to them.
Yeah, like this ended up working out very nicely. So in addition to thanking these guys for making a great team, I wanted to thank you personally. Cast this very momentous occasion. This was very exciting to cast over and just really experience, because I mean, especially for someone like me who's this was my first season of THL. I had an amazing time getting to play and getting to know all you guys, and it's kind of bittersweet in a way to have this end, but again, new season will be coming up soon, and I look forward to that even more than I look forward to this past season.
Yeah, next season's going to be great. Thanks for casting, and big thank you to Brasky for hosting all 3 of these games.
Yeah, much love to you, Brasky.
Thank you, sir. It was a fantastic season 6, filled with a lot of ups and a lot of downs. I'm playing Queens, We Are the Champions right now to close out the stream. But Markshire, shout out to you. Shout out to the whole board, Slimsh, Commissioner, everyone who kind of makes the league tick.
You guys really work your asses off, and it really shows how well put together this league is.
This is my second season.
I'll say it again. You guys deserve a much bigger audience.
Yeah, this is my second season, and this is the first season I've really kind of learned of how the league ticks, and it takes a lot just to put this league together. And so shout out to the board, shout out to every single person watching who's participated in a THL match or even a Wicked Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah, seriously, guys, it's like I can't believe I was just finding out about this league only a couple months ago, but I'm really glad that all of you guys both exceed my expectations in terms of how well you run this and how much you guys enjoy it, how much fun of an experience you make it for other people like myself. I mean, things like this are probably said all the time, but I really don't care. You deserve all the credit in the world.
And with that, I think we should send season 6 off with Markshire. You give the last words and send us out.
I think I've said enough for everyone, but just thank you for everyone for watching and for making THL Season 6 what it was.